Chapter 2606. Xianxia said, "There's no need to be nostalgic for such a man. He's such a playboy. Even if you really get married and get together with him, you'll suffer a lot in the future. You should be glad that you discovered his true colors early and cut off all ties with him. You should also be glad that he didn't delay you for too long." She pursed her lips and nodded. "You're so outstanding. You deserve a better man. It's not that I can't let go of this relationship, nor am I reluctant to part with it. It's just that I've treated this relationship seriously, yet I've been cruelly played by him, so I feel indignant." Xianxia clenched her fists. She wanted so badly to take revenge on this man and let him know that a woman's feelings were not to be casually played with. Given her personality, she dared to love and hate, so she naturally wouldn't be reluctant to part with such a sloppy relationship. However, she had always been unyielding and unwilling to admit defeat, so the thought of revenge arose in her mind. Xianxia seemed to have seen through her and couldn't help asking, "Don't tell me you want to take revenge on him?" Xianxia jerked her head up and looked at her in surprise. How do you know what I'm thinking? You're like this. You're unyielding and headstrong. Of course, you'll want to take revenge after being played." "Yes." She didn't deny it. Xianxia tilted her head and asked curiously, "So, how do you want to take revenge?" Xianxia curled her lips. "Do you want me to say it bluntly? The greatest revenge you can use on him is to make him unable to extricate himself from falling in love with you. Then you'll ruthlessly abandon him. Let him have a taste of his feelings being played with. However, from what I know of this man, he won't fall in love with you, so this plan won't work. What's next? Or do you want to use another method, such as imitating a TV drama where the female lead, abandoned by the male lead, goes to a bar or nightclub to indulge in debauchery and fool around with other men so that Gao Nan will see her extraordinary charm? This method will indeed be effective. Perhaps he'll find it interesting, or perhaps he'll be filled with pain after you leave him. In my opinion, such a method of revenge that harms both the enemy and oneself is quite laughable. However, if you really want to take revenge, you can just abandon him and live a carefree life without having to prove anything. It's about saying goodbye to your past relationships and getting back on track." Xianxia was dumbfounded. She had actually figured out her thoughts so clearly. Sure. Xianxia was ashamed. "I was too childish. It's understandable for you to think that way. After all, you've suffered a blow. However, don't let your emotions affect your decisions and hurt yourself. Do you understand?" Xianxia nodded heavily. "All right, let's not talk about unhappy things." And let's not talk about unhappy things. Anyway, they had already broken up. This relationship was already in the past. "I'm just worried." "What are you worried about?" Xianxia said, "I heard some rumors in the crew. I'm worried that this matter will trouble you." "No, I'll handle it." Xianxia smiled and said, "Since you're here, let's have dinner together." With that, she turned to Muxi and said, "You too, it's my treat tonight." Wah! Muxi was overjoyed. "I didn't expect to get a free meal today." "You speak as if you rarely get free meals." Chapter 2607. Due to the unpleasantness between Hua Jin and Gao Nan at the bar that night, the news quickly spread among the production crew. After this incident, everyone looked at Xianxia and Hua Jin strangely. No wonder. No matter how they looked at it, they felt that Hua Jin was too enthusiastic toward Xianxia. His care for Xianxia was unprecedented. Many people guessed that the two were having a secret relationship. Last time, they watched as Hua Jin protected Xianxia so well and fought with Gao Nan, even at the cost of his face being disfigured. One must know that many people were familiar with his style of doing things. He never cared about fighting. That was because Hua Jin hated disfigurement the most. Back when they were filming a period drama, a staff member in charge of the wire made a mistake and got his face scratched by a tree branch. He flew into a rage and kicked the entire team out of the set. The director and a few higher-ups were so stunned that they did not dare to say a word. Hua Jin was very protective of his face and valued it very much. However, for Xianxia, he did not care even if his face was disfigured. What did this mean? This meant that Xianxia was very important to him. However, ever since Xianxia flew into a rage that day, coupled with the sudden appearance of Gao Nan's official girlfriend, the rumor of Xianxia being a third party became a confusing rumor in the crew, and many people kept it a secret. After Hua Jin returned to the set, the rumor did not die down. One day, after filming, he returned to the resting set. His face was covered in dust, so he went to the washroom to wash his face. Then, he vaguely heard two women talking in the washroom. I increasingly feel that there's something between Xianxia and Hua Jin. I think they're very ambiguous. What do you mean? During filming today, did you notice that no matter what Xianxia was doing, Hua Jin's eyes never left her? What's more surprising is that whenever Xianxia was done with her scenes, Hua Jin would stick to her with a smile on his face. No matter how you look at it, he looks like a man in love. That can't be, right? Hua Jin and Xianxia don't seem to be compatible. How can the two of them be a couple? But I think there's something ambiguous between the two of them. Actually, I didn't believe it at first because I used to be a fan of Hua Jin. I saw the way he looked at Xianxia was exactly the same as the way I looked at him back then. How long have you been in the industry? Oh. Don't tell me you entered this industry because of Hua Jin? Yes. I used to study fashion design and had the opportunity to study abroad, but because I'm a fan of Hua Jin, I gave up my spot without hesitation and joined the production team when they were looking for a costume designer. I've been following him since his second period drama. Hua Jin can't possibly be interested in Xianxia, right? She's a third party, a mistress. Didn't Ji Yan say that? Xianxia actually took the initiative to seduce Gao Nan in order to get a job. I didn't expect her to be such a person in private despite how pure she looks on the surface. Although she denied it on the surface, I think she's especially hypocritical. If she did it, then so be it. If she admits it, then so be it. Is there a need to deny it? Don't tell me that AB*TCH still wants to build a monument. Chapter 2608. Shoo. Be careful, the walls have ears. I'm not afraid. I'm an open and above-board person. Since I've said it, I won't deny it if someone hears me. I won't be like Xianxia, who only dares to do it but doesn't dare to admit it. The two of them walked out of the washroom, chatting and laughing. However, they bumped into Hua Jin, who was standing outside the door with a frosty look on his face. The two of them were stunned and stared at him dumbfoundedly. In a moment of nervousness, they bit their tongues hard when the words, Hua Jin, came out of their mouths. Hua Jin sized them up with an expressionless face. The frosty look on his face was especially thick. He stared at them with a deadly glare. His sharp gaze was like two sharp knives, ruthlessly cutting into their bodies. Who was the one who said that Xianxia was a B*TCH who wants to erect a monument? The two of them kept their heads down and trembled in fear. No one dared to stand up and admit it. Why? I just heard someone say that, you're open and above board. Why? Now you're like a coward who doesn't dare to admit it? Hua Jin's voice was extremely deep. His voice was originally a characteristic of a youth. His gaze was clear and limpid like a stream. However, at this moment, it was extremely gloomy, like a dense fog that couldn't be dispersed. The gloominess seeped into one's bones, causing one to tremble in fear. What about you? Speak properly. Who was the one who said that Xianxia was a third party? And who was the one who said that Xianxia was a B*TCH? After Hua Jin finished speaking, he glanced at the fashion designer and asked sternly, Was it you? Hua Jin. It wasn't me. I didn't say. She hurriedly waved her hands and hurriedly cleared her name. Hua Jin had always been her idol. It was because of this that she felt indignant about Hua Jin and Xianxia being so close. The other person was scared out of her wits. When she saw that Hua Jin's cold gaze had finally landed on her, she suddenly recalled that Hua Jin had always been vicious and merciless in the production team. She was so frightened that she almost collapsed to the ground. She immediately stammered and was so anxious that she was about to cry. Hua Jin, those words were all said by me. Before she could finish speaking, Hua Jin suddenly raised his hand and grabbed the back of her neck, pressing her against the wall. Ah! Hua Jin, no. The other person immediately pounced on him. Hua Jin pushed her to the side with one hand and bellowed, Get lost! Hua Jin! Hua Jin ignored the crying voice next to him and stared straight at the woman in front of him. You said that Xianxia is the third party? Where did this come from? How did Xianxia become the third party for no reason? On the surface, he seemed to be choking her, but in fact, he didn't use much strength to give her space to speak. After he returned to the set, He vaguely sensed that the atmosphere on set was a little strange. However, he didn't think too much about it. However, the words he accidentally overheard just now shocked him. Xianxia is the third party? Is this news spreading among the crew? Why? Hua Jin. Tell me. Filled with anger, Hua Jin interrogated her. Tell me what's going on? This is all Ji Yan said. The man shuddered as he pushed all the blame onto Ji Yan. Ji Yan. She. Chapter 2609. Hua Jin furrowed his brows in confusion, his eyes filled with shock and anger. She said that Xianxia seduced her boyfriend in the washroom at the party that night, and that she's a shameless third party. Everyone in the crew knows about it. Xianxia also knows about it, but although she denies it, she can't provide any substantial evidence. In everyone's eyes, her behavior is tantamount to admitting it. Bull**T. Hua Jin immediately swore. This matter is completely groundless. Xianxia is definitely not that kind of woman. Next to him, the costume designer hurriedly said, Hua Jin, do you really like Xianxia? Don't be fooled by her appearance. Everyone said that as a newcomer, she had obtained so many golden resources since her debut because she relied on the unspoken rules to get to where she was. Such a woman is not worthy of you at all. You deserve better. What do you mean? Hua Jin glared at her with red eyes. Despite his anger, he was extremely calm. Everyone in the crew is saying that you like Xianxia, that you have an ambiguous relationship with her, and that you two are secretly in a relationship. But Hua Jin, do you really know her? Ji Yan wouldn't lie. Some women may seem innocent on the surface, but what about the truth? Ji Yan. Hua Jin muttered the name through gritted teeth. Then he looked up and said fiercely, I'm warning you, Xianxia is the most important person to me. If any of you gossip behind my back and make trouble for me, don't blame me for being rude. After saying that, he turned around and left in a hurry. No one knew where he went. At this moment in the lounge, Ji Yan was touching up her makeup when she heard a series of hurried footsteps outside the door. She looked toward the door and heard a loud bang. Hua Jin had kicked the door open and barged in. Ji Yan, get out here. Ji Yan's heart skipped a beat. She shot up from her seat and met Hua Jin's eyes in astonishment. Hua Jin. She glanced at the anger on his face and then at the broken door. Several cracks had appeared on the thick, solid wooden door. At first glance, he looked delicate, but she did not expect that such a young man's slender frame contained such great strength. What are you doing? Ji Yan looked at him with great vigilance, feeling that there was a storm in him. His eyes were bloodshot as if he was in a rage. I heard that you've been spreading rumors about Xianxia in the crew. Hua Jin asked expressionlessly. You said that she's a third party. Are you the one who spread these rumors? Ji Yan's face froze for a moment before her lips curled into a faint smile. Rumors? Isn't that the truth? Bull**T. Hua Jin swore. Who the hell is Gao Nan? Is he worthy? Even if Xianxia's taste is as low as dust, she would never fall for such trash. Oh. Ji Yan asked with a faint smile. How did you know? Hua Jin, you seem to care a lot about her and her feelings. Don't tell me you like her? Hua Jin was at a loss for words. After a long pause, he said, Xianxia and I don't have that kind of relationship. She's my family. Family? Ji Yan raised an eyebrow, finding it ridiculous. She's the most important person to me, so I won't allow you to insult her. Chapter 2610. Ji Yan shrugged. But the truth is that she's a third party who came between me and Gao Nan. For the sake of resources, she didn't hesitate to seduce Gao Nan and climb into his bed. You're deliberately slandering her. Hua Jin sneered. Ji Yan, I really suspect that you have ulterior motives. For the sake of resources? Is that why you're willing to play by the unspoken rules? Do you know that Xianxia is already... His voice came to an abrupt halt. What he wanted to say was that Xianxia was already married. Alas, he could not bring himself to say it out loud. That was because this matter had not been made public yet. If he accidentally blurted it out in a fit of anger, wouldn't it be troublesome for Xianxia? Hua Jin bit his lip and swallowed his words in a daze. Ji Yan pressed. Why didn't you continue? Hua Jin bit his lower lip hard and then said, Anyway, I'm warning you, don't spread rumors again. Ji Yan sneered but did not say anything in the end. The smile on her face suddenly took on a strange look as if there was a deep calculation behind it. For a moment, one could not figure out what she was secretly plotting. Hua Jin did not want to pay attention to her. Since he had already laid all his cards on the table, he would naturally let her weigh the remaining words in her heart. Just as he turned around, he heard Ji Yan whispering behind him. Hua Jin, you're quite arrogant, aren't you? What are you trying to say by coming here to show off in front of me? Do you think you're still the same person you used to be? Hua Jin's back stiffened. Ji Yan casually said, in the past, you relied on the support of your sugar daddy to call the shots and do whatever you want in the production team. I used to be afraid of you because of your sugar daddy, but I think you've fallen a lot recently. Why? Did you break up with your sugar daddy? Shut up. Hua Jin turned around and said fiercely, you have no right to comment on my affairs. You don't have the right. Ji Yan looked at him with a smile and did not say anything. The two of them looked at each other for a long time. The more Hua Jin looked into her eyes, the more confused his mind became. For some reason, he felt that this gaze was extremely familiar yet also extremely unfamiliar. He furrowed his brows and his eyes flickered. Suddenly he exclaimed, Yan Bingqing. This gaze made him think of Yan Bingqing's face. In the past, he had some doubts about whether Ji Yan was Yan Bingqing herself. But now, after seeing the deep look in her eyes, he was even more certain that this woman was definitely Yan Bingqing. Previously, he and Yan Bingqing had acted in a period drama together. Yan Bingqing played the role of a concubine with an unfathomable mind. When she acted with him, her sinister eyes left a deep impression on him. Yan Bingqing? Ji Yan's lips curled into a playful smile. She did not directly admit it, but she did not deny it either. Some things are between Xianxia and me. Similarly, you have no right to interfere, do you understand? There are some things that I must get back from her. After saying that, Ji Yan arrogantly walked around him and walked out of the door. Hua Jin turned around abruptly and watched her slowly receding figure in astonishment. Uneasiness surged in his heart all of a sudden. When Xianxia returned to the lounge after filming, she saw Hua Jin sitting on the sofa in a daze. He seemed to have been waiting for her for a long time. However, his expression was a little strange, and he seemed to be a little anxious and uneasy. Chapter 26:11. Xianxia smiled. When did you get here? I thought you were in your lounge. Xia. When Hua Jin saw her, he snapped out of his troubled thoughts and walked toward her. He suddenly grabbed her shoulder and asked with a solemn expression, do you have a grudge with Yan Bingqing? I don't usually pay much attention to the gossip in the entertainment industry, but I vaguely remember that you and Yan Bingqing worked together on the set of The Green Apple, and the slapping incident was exposed at that time. Although Huan Yu quickly suppressed the news at that time, Yan Bingqing's disappearance from the entertainment industry has something to do with you, right? Xianxia looked at him in confusion. Why did you suddenly mention her? I suspect that Ji Yan is Yan Bingqing. She must have returned to the entertainment industry to take revenge on you. Hua Jin revealed all his concerns. Sure. I'm a little worried about you. Ji Yan is Yan Bingqing? Even Xianxia couldn't help but be stunned. Are you sure about this? She asked doubtfully. Hua Jin shook his head. I don't have any evidence that she's Yan Bingqing, but my sixth sense tells me that Ji Yan wants to do something to you. What do you mean? Sure. I'm no longer the Hua Jin I used to be. After I broke off my relationship with Lin Shuya, I don't have any backing. I want to protect you, but I'm worried that I can't protect you well. Sure. You must keep a distance from Ji Yan. I'm worried that she'll harm you. Xianxia was stunned for a moment, then she comforted him softly. Hua Jin, don't worry. Even if she wants to harm me, she won't have such an opportunity. Because I plan to quit the entertainment industry. Xianxia said calmly, when the press release is over, I will announce to the public that I am quitting the entertainment industry and stay at home to take care of my husband and children. A trace of worry appeared on Hua Jin's face. But I'm still worried. Don't worry, I'll keep my distance from her. Xianxia smiled. Besides, I only have the chance to meet her on set. Usually, even if you don't have any scenes, you will accompany me on set. With you around, what do I have to worry about? Her words gave Hua Jin a great sense of security. He firmly enunciated each word. Don't worry, I will protect you at all times. Piff. Xianxia suddenly laughed. Now that you mention it, Ji Yan is like a devil. It's as if she's going to rush in and stab me with a knife at any moment. One must always be on guard against others. If she really is Yan Bingqing, I suspect that she will scheme against you. Well, don't worry, I'll be on guard against her. Hua Jin felt a little relieved after hearing her words. However, the rest of the day was as peaceful as ever. Hua Jin never left Xianxia's side on set, but ever since Hua Jin and Ji Yan quarreled that day, Ji Yan did not appear on set the next day. According to the director, Ji Yan had taken a leave of absence due to illness, and since there were no scenes for her these few days, she simply stayed at home to rest. Hua Jin originally thought that this matter would come to an end. In the few days that Ji Yan was not around, the production team had quieted down, and the rumors about Xianxia had died down. Chapter 26:12. On Monday evening, Jianghu, a well-known paparazzi in the entertainment industry, posted a sensational Weibo post. Jianghu, the entertainment writer of Fengxing Studio, was known as the #1 paparazzi in the entertainment industry. He had tens of millions of fans on Weibo and specialized in exposing insider gossip in the entertainment industry. His style of doing things was to follow artists and secretly take photos of them. If he got hold of a first-hand scandal, he would send the photos to the artist in advance in the form of an email and offer a price at the end. If the artist was willing to pay for these scandalous photos, then Jianghu would delete all the photos. If the artist was not willing to pay, then he would expose the scandal. Some time ago, the shocking photos of a certain young starlet were his handiwork. Of course, not all scandals could be bought with money. As a paparazzi, what he needed was reputation. He needed to use the gossip he took to prove his prestige as a paparazzi. That evening, he posted a limerick on Weibo. Vows of eternal love are hurried, the broken marriage is a dream. The poetic South Mountain is high in the clouds, the remnant face to the candle is empty. Moreover, at the end of the Weibo post, he said in a very emotional tone, sometimes, the surface is as clean as ice and as clean as jade, but it is not really as beautiful as it looks. Under the charming appearance, there may be an extremely ugly heart. This was his usual style. First, he would publish a limerick as a warning and as a small demonstration. This limerick would often hide the name of the protagonist of the scandal, but as for who it was, netizens would have to use their brains to guess. Soon, some astute netizens guessed the name hidden in the limerick. Xianxia. The poetic South Mountain is high in the clouds. Isn't that Xianxia? Once the Weibo post was posted, it immediately shocked countless people. Many people guessed that Jianghu had gotten hold of some insider information again. Some netizens joked, did Jianghu get hold of some shocking insider information again? Xianxia has been very popular recently. It seems that Jianghu is going to destroy her ruthlessly. Could it be that he is going to expose Xianxia's scandals? I quite liked the movie, The Green Apple, that she acted in. Her acting was really good. I always thought that she was the only young starlet in the entertainment industry who was untainted by dirt. Xianxia is indeed very suspicious. Although she looks like a fairy on the surface and gives off an otherworldly feeling, she has so many resources since her debut and has acted in so many good scripts. I can't help but feel that she's not an ordinary woman. In private, she must be a very scheming woman, right? For a time, there were different opinions. Regarding Xianxia's speculations, everyone had their own opinions. There were some who stood firmly on Xianxia's side. There were also some who suspected that Xianxia was just like what Jianghu said. She wasn't as pure as she looked on the surface. Perhaps she was as filthy as those unrestrained celebrities in private. All the netizens were in the mood to watch a good show and were looking forward to the arrival of Friday. In Qin Zhou's office. Bang! Qin Zhou slammed the document on the table. Good job, Jianghu. Cover it up tightly. Xianxia sat at the side, her brows tightly knitted from beginning to end, but she did not understand the reason. As the person at the center of the incident, she even suspected that the limerick was directed at her. She didn't do anything bad, right? Chapter 26:13. As the person at the center of the incident, many netizens who did not know the truth criticized her on the internet these days. There were even fans who went to her Weibo to ask what had happened and asked her to announce it herself. Qin Zhou immediately contacted Fengxing Studio to express his attitude. If it was really a scandal about Xianxia, he wouldn't hesitate to buy it at a high price. However, Fengxing covered his mouth tightly and said, "It's not convenient to say more. See you Friday." Then he hung up and ignored him. F***ck. See you Friday. Qin Zhou cursed and turned to Yun Shirshir. "Do you know what's going on?" Yun Shirshir shook her head blankly. "You really don't know?" Qin Zhou became more anxious. Yun Shirshir said, "I've been filming for the past few days. You know how I am. I don't know what went wrong." Was Zhuake really referring to me in his doggerel? She had always been uninvolved. She was not afraid of a crooked shadow. She firmly believed that this matter had nothing to do with her. Who else could it be other than you when the poem, Nan Shan soars above the clouds refers to? Who else in the entertainment industry has Yun and Shir in their names besides you? Qin Zhou said eloquently. Yun Shirshir was even more perplexed as she furrowed her brows. Could there be a misunderstanding? Qin Zhou said angrily, "I have my suspicions too, but Fengxing hasn't been willing to disclose it and hasn't explained anything. He only said that he'll see you Friday. Do you know what see you Friday means? He's showing us who's boss. He's provoking Huan Yu. Anyway, I didn't do anything wrong. Even if they expose a scandal, I can explain it clearly." Explain it to who? Explain it to those fans who are led by public opinion? Zhuake's scandals have always been true. The public will be blinded by him. When that happens, you'll only be caught in the vortex of public opinion. Who will listen to your explanation? Yun Shirshir was speechless. She suddenly said, "All this time, I haven't been anywhere other than filming. Therefore it's futile for you to ask me." Only then did Qin Zhou realize that he had lost his composure. Frowning, he rubbed his forehead with his finger and said helplessly, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have been so tough with you. I'm fine. You go back first. I'll think of a way to deal with this matter." Yun Shirshir suddenly said, "Actually, no matter what kind of scandal it is, even if it is exposed, I can deal with it. Don't worry too much about me." "How are you going to deal with it?" Qin Zhou asked doubtfully. "If it's slander, I can sue, can't I?" "I'm not worried about slander. I'm worried that this guy is taking advantage of your loophole to defame you." "Qin Zhou, don't worry. Different situations call for different measures." Yun Shirshir stood up and suddenly smiled at him. "I came here today because I have something to discuss with you. But seeing how tired you are, I'll talk about it another day." "What is it?" "Just say it." Qin Zhou didn't like to keep people in suspense. Chapter 26:14. Qin Zhou was stunned. Yun Shirshir continued, "I don't like to fight with people, especially those who are scheming against each other. I can't deal with them. So, I want to work hard to become a best actress and then quit the entertainment industry." Her words were so sudden that Qin Zhou couldn't digest them for a while. "You want to quit the entertainment industry?" "Yes." "Are you sure about that?" Qin Zhou was still a little reluctant. "Shirshir, your future is bright. As long as I continue to support you, your future will be very bright. You should know my character. I don't care about fame and success. Maybe it's because I didn't live up to your expectations?" Her lips curled into a self-mocking smile. "Compared to success and recognition, I still want to protect my little family. When I first stepped into the entertainment industry, I was forced by life and had no choice. But now, compared to the audience, my family needs me more. Won't you regret doing this?" Yun Shirshir said firmly, "No, I won't." "Well." Qin Zhou frowned and said helplessly, "This is a little sudden. Give me some time to digest it." "Okay. You can go back first," Qin Zhou ordered. Yun Shirshir picked up her bag and left the company. Because she had been in the eye of the storm recently, Qin Zhou told her to leave through the back door of the company. He also arranged bodyguards to protect her on the way to avoid any accidents. The company sent her a private car. After she got in, she closed the curtain and did not have to worry about being secretly photographed. In the past few days, the matter of Zhuake's Weibo post was still fermenting. Many netizens became more and more restless, and everyone kept speculating with the intention of gossiping. Yun Shirshir's Weibo post attracted countless comments from netizens. Some wanted to get to the bottom of it, some questioned and speculated, and some criticized wildly. In the past few days, Yun Shirshir did not deliberately log in to Weibo again. The more she read the public opinion, the more annoyed she became. On Thursday, Jianghu didn't want to be left out again and posted a set of 9 photos. The woman in the photo was none other than Ji Yan, the new actress who had caused a heated discussion due to her resemblance to Yan Bingqing. She was lying on the hospital bed, wearing a breathing mask. On the hospital bed, she looked very sick, unable to recover. Dejected and haggard. Trapped by love, I still have no regrets. Jianghu's short poem seemed to imply that Ji Yan had fallen ill because she was troubled by her love life. However, he did not reveal too many details. An hour after he posted the Weibo post, a netizen who claimed to be working at a hospital posted, "The photos posted by Jianghu are real. Ji Yan was rushed to the hospital a week ago after she was found wanting to commit suicide by cutting her wrists. Rumor had it that the person who found her was her best friend. As she had lost contact with Ji Yan for several days, the woman was so worried that she went to her apartment to look for her. However, after knocking on the door for a long time, there was no response. When the woman broke in, she found Ji Yan lying in a bathtub filled with water that was stained red with blood. Rumor has it that Ji Yan once had a stable boyfriend, but her boyfriend cheated on her, causing her to be emotionally hurt. That's why she took it too hard. Hurt by love? Cheated on? The netizens' imaginations ran wild. Chapter 26:15. Then, connecting the dots, doesn't it mean that a couple who were originally in love with each other had their relationship ruined by someone else and was hurt by love? Oh my god! Could it be that Jianghu wanted to expose that Ji Yan had been ruined by a third party, and that third party was Xianxia? Jianghu added, "Sometimes, the surface is as clean as ice and as clean as jade, but it isn't as beautiful as it looks. Under a charming appearance, there may be an extremely ugly heart." She was implying that, although Xianxia maintained her image of being pure and otherworldly on the surface, she was, in fact, extremely ugly in nature. The netizens connected the dots and were terrified. They were looking forward to the truth being revealed on Friday night. What the hell? On this day, Xiaoxue called to ask about Xianxia's situation. She was worried that Xianxia would be at a loss and helpless after this incident. To her surprise, Xianxia picked up the phone calmly, as if she didn't care about it at all. Only then did Xiaoxue feel a little relieved. "Xianxia, have you seen the comments of the netizens online? They're too much. How dare they speculate about you without any substantial evidence? I'm so angry." Xiaoxue continued. "There's a line in that poem. The poetry of Nanshan is high in the clouds. Could it be related to Gao Nan?" Xianxia furrowed her eyebrows, feeling a little doubtful. "Xiaoxue, don't be anxious." "How can I not be anxious? I'm the one who implicated you in this matter. If it weren't for my bad luck, I wouldn't have brought you so much trouble." Xiaoxue regretted her actions, especially when she realized that her failed relationship had implicated her best friend in a whirlpool of public opinion. Since it has already happened, we should think about how to deal with it. It's useless to be on tenterhooks. Xiaoxue asked nervously, "Will it work if you clarify the truth to the public?" Xianxia was also a little confused by this question. She didn't know if her explanation was convincing. However, when she roughly figured out the core of Jianghu's revelation, she calmed down at once. Her conscience was at ease with this groundless exposé. She was not a third party, nor did she interfere in anyone's relationship. Just this point alone made her feel at ease. What is this Jianghu up to? How dare you write such a groundless scandal? Perhaps he was also instructed by someone. As far as she knew, Jianghu's information was not 100% true. If someone offered him a large sum of money, he would publish it on Weibo even if it wasn't true. If the person being defamed did not have a strong enough background, he would definitely be crushed by the overwhelming comments. However, in the eyes of the netizens, most of Jianghu's revelations were confirmed to be true. Even if the latter did not clarify and deal with it coldly, there was still evidence to follow. Therefore, in the eyes of the netizens, Jianghu was the messenger of justice, who exposed the dark secrets of the entertainment industry. This was the trickiest part. Xiaoxue didn't react to her words and was confused for a moment. "What do you mean?" Xianxia said hesitantly, "I suspect that someone is deliberately trying to smear my reputation and use the internet to suppress me and destroy me." This is too scary. Who is scheming against you? Chapter 26:16. Once this news was out, Who would benefit the most from the public opinion? Ji Yan. Therefore, it was not difficult to guess who the mastermind behind this matter was. Still, why would Ji Yan do this? Ji Yan had just debuted, and she had no grudges with her except for that matter with Gao Nan. Was it necessary for her to commit suicide over that matter? Or could it be that the suicide by cutting his wrists was just a show to add to the scandal and gain the sympathy of the public? Such a show was undoubtedly very successful. The public opinion online was already leaning toward Ji Yan's side. Most netizens, who were unaware of the truth, began to defend, sympathize with, and support her. However, as the center of this incident, she, who appeared as the third party, became a target of scorn and hatred. Hence, she could be even more certain about one thing. Ji Yan did not truly love Gao Nan, and the two of them were just playing around. Moreover, she had already set up a trap and was patiently waiting for her prey to walk into it unknowingly. And that prey was none other than her. Gao Nan was nothing more than a pawn for her to use. To put it bluntly, Gao Nan was just a smokescreen. She had painstakingly set up a trap for him at the birthday party that night, and the game had officially started from there. The next day, she went to the production team to exaggerate this matter, deliberately portraying her as a third party who interfered in someone else's relationship to arouse the sympathy of the crew. There were many small groups in the production team, and some of the crew members who knew some inside information would send it to the paparazzi for a high reward. Once the paparazzi got hold of a clue, they would begin to lay low. As for what Jianghu would release on Friday, it would probably be some photos that would be unfavorable to her. For example, photos of her and Gao Nan looking very intimate. That night, the bar was so chaotic. If Ji Yan wanted to, she would have bribed the paparazzi in advance to keep watch at the bar. They probably took a photo of her and Gao Nan in the washroom. Using a certain angle, even if she and Gao Nan were arguing non-stop, the photo was still and could not speak. As long as the right angle was chosen, even if the two of them were quarreling with red faces, it could still create an extremely ambiguous effect. Xianxia calmly analyzed the situation. Once she calmed down, her mind was very clear. The development of the matter was probably not much different from what she had inferred. There might be a discrepancy, but it would not be too big. Ji Yan really put a lot of thought into this. Why would she do this, though? It's probably because there's some deep hatred between us that can't be resolved, right? This further confirmed her suspicions. This Ji Yan is Yan Bingqing. Xianxia shared her conjecture with Xiao Shui. After listening to her analysis, the latter was a little dazed. After a long pause on the other end of the phone, she didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She said with extreme indignation, "Oh my God, is this a plot against the palace?" The entertainment industry was like a harem in ancient times, full of intrigue and intrigue. So melodramatic? Things like this happen every day. I'm already used to it. Chapter 26:17. After hanging up the phone, Xianxia knitted her brows and suddenly walked into the study, where she turned on her computer and logged into Weibo. Sure enough, the rumors about her being a third party were all over the place. The netizens seemed to be certain that she was the mysterious female lead in Jianghu's news and firmly believed that she had interfered in Ji Yan's relationship. She looked at the calendar and saw that tomorrow was Friday. Jianghu would release the news on Friday night, and she would be in a very passive position by then. After all, as the protagonist, if she insisted on explaining, it would only make the public feel that the more she tried to explain, the more it would make the situation worse. She had once filed a defamation lawsuit against Jianghu, but Qin Zhou said that the litigation period would be very long, and under the operation of Fengxing Studio, her reputation would inevitably be tarnished. Once it hit rock bottom, it would even affect her a lot of areas. For example, she originally planned to compete for the Best Supporting Actress award with Lethal Beauty, but if she were to be embroiled in a scandal, she would definitely be boycotted by the public. The jury would then comply with the public's opinion and kick her out of the list. At that time, she would have no chance of winning the award and would be completely removed from the list. What was worse was that if things got out of hand in the end, the advertisement she endorsed would also be affected and taken off the shelves, and she would also have to face a high penalty for breach of contract. As a spokesperson with a sky-high price, one's artistic integrity was also the most important assessment indicator for advertisers. Maintaining a good image was also listed in the clause. Thinking of this, Xianxia's mood became more and more irritable. When Mu Yaja reached home, Xianxia was slumped over the study table, looking depressed. He walked to the front of the study table, only to find the computer screen displaying the Weibo interface. On the interface was a long Weibo post about Xianxia's scandal. Some netizens analyzed some details revealed by Zhuoke's Weibo, and concluded that Ji Yan's rumored boyfriend was probably the son of Chengguang Entertainment's senior executive, Gao Nan. South Mountain Poetic Beyond the Clouds. It referred to Xianxia and Gao Nan. So, Xianxia had interfered in the relationship between Ji Yan and Gao Nan, and the latter had cheated on Xianxia. The netizens were in an uproar. He was no stranger to Gao Nan. Nowadays, many things in the entertainment industry had become transparent due to the internet. Although Gao Nan was not a public figure, it was precisely because his mother was a high-ranking executive in Chengguang Entertainment that all his rumored girlfriends were related to the entertainment industry. Some time ago, there was even a scandal between him and Lin Ji, where the paparazzi secretly took photos of them entering and leaving a hotel together. Although Chengguang Entertainment managed to suppress this matter in time, the news still spread like wildfire. Coupled with his good looks, he was even better than many of the young men in the entertainment industry. Wuxia frowned. Because of his anger, his breathing suddenly became heavy and rapid. Xianxia suddenly sensed it. She raised her head and saw that it was him. She was immediately at a loss. You're back?" she asked anxiously, only to see his gaze fall straight on the screen. His hostility was revealed, and he was clearly a little uneasy. She was worried that he would misunderstand and wanted to explain, but she didn't know where to start. Wuxia suddenly looked at her. "Who spread this rumor?" He was so angry that his voice was thick and nasal, which made him look very dignified. Chapter 26:18. She had thought that he would want to get to the bottom of it after seeing the rumors, but she hadn't expected him to think that someone was trying to defame her. In other words, he didn't suspect that she had really done such a thing. Instead, he subconsciously chose to believe her innocence and believed her without any hesitation. Xianxia couldn't help feeling touched. Her stubborn face finally cracked, and a helpless look of grievance appeared on her face. "I really didn't get involved in anyone's relationship. I don't know why they're doing this. I'm guessing they're trying to defame me and ruin my career. Who posted these rumors?" "Fengxing Studio." "Fengxing Studio?" Wuxia frowned. He wasn't unfamiliar with that name. Jianghu said that he'll release a shocking piece of news tomorrow night. "I suspect that someone has bribed Fengxing Studio to defame my reputation." Wuxia couldn't bear seeing how uneasy and helpless she was. He hugged her tightly and sighed. "Don't be afraid. I won't let that happen." "What should I do?" Xianxia was at a loss. "I don't know what to do. This is the first time I've encountered something like this. I can only tell myself that the more tense the moment, the calmer I have to be." "Fengxing Studio, huh?" Wuxia opened his eyes slightly. A frosty glint flashed across his eyes, freezing everything within 1,000 miles. "Don't worry, Xia. I'll take care of everything." Xianxia closed her eyes. "Okay." On Friday night, Fengxing Studio, which had made an advance announcement, didn't release the news as promised. Whether it was Fengxing Studio's official Weibo or Zhuoke's Weibo, there were no updates. Even though netizens kept clamoring for him to release the news, there was still no news from him even after a few hours. Many netizens were greatly disappointed. This matter had been brewing for several days. Regarding the love triangle between Xianxia, Ji Yan, and Gao Nan, the netizens had many different opinions and speculations. They were just waiting for the truth to be revealed on Friday night. However, for the first time in his life, Zhuoke stood them up. Fengxing Studio also stood them up and didn't make any move. Xianxia, who was at the center of this incident, posted a Weibo post on Friday night along with a meaningful picture. In the picture, there was a clear stream with a little girl holding a bunch of wildflowers as she strolled by the stream. She looked so innocent and carefree. She even attached a short Weibo post with 4 words, "The innocent knows the truth." The netizens were in an uproar. What? The truth? Does this mean that the announcement that Zhuoke released earlier was a mistake? There's no third party, no affair, and scandals? Fengxing Studio, everything? All of a sudden, a bloody storm was set off on the internet again. Some netizens were disappointed. They were prepared to watch the biggest drama of the year, but they didn't expect that after years of brewing, there would be no follow-up. Their anticipation was in vain. Some netizens, on the other hand, were excited that their beloved idol was finally innocent. Hence, they went to Zhuoke's Weibo and scolded him for being a mangy dog. Chapter 26:19. There was no third party, no cheating, no scandal. Everything was Fengxing Studio's fault? Instantly, the internet was once again in a bloodbath. Some netizens were disappointed. They were originally prepared to watch the biggest drama of the year, but they did not expect that after years of brewing, there would be no follow-up. Their anticipation was in vain. Some netizens, on the other hand, were overjoyed that their beloved idol had finally been cleared. Hence, they went to Zhuoke's Weibo to scold him for being a lazy dog. What the hell is going on? Ji Yan slammed the fax sent by Zhuoke on the table. According to the fax, due to some unforeseen circumstances, this matter might come to an end. In fact, Xianxia's guess was right. Everything was a trap set up by Ji Yan. Starting from the party that night, she had carefully set up a big net to use this scandal to completely drive Xianxia to the bottom of the valley. If there were no accidents, Zhuoke was supposed to publish a long Weibo post and a set of candid photos that night as planned. The photos were taken secretly in a bar that night. In the photos, Xianxia and Gao Nan were arguing in the washroom. However, the angle and deliberate candid shots made the two look very intimate. One of the photos showed Xianxia and Gao Nan gnashing their teeth as they spoke. From the photos, it looked like they were whispering to each other intimately. Just these few photos alone were enough to prove that the two of them had a close relationship. In addition, Zhuoke also revealed that Ji Yan had cut her wrist to commit suicide due to being trapped by love to win the public sympathy. The public generally had a sense of empathy. When the weak were in front of them, they would unconsciously side with them and protect them. A popular starlet who was as pure as ice and as pure as jade on the screen was actually so unrestrained in private. She interfered with the relationship of a new actor in the crew, and forced a weak and helpless newcomer to commit suicide by cutting her wrists. How repulsive would that be in other people's eyes? Ji Yan could even proudly foresee that Xianxia's Weibo would be attacked by angry netizens not long after Zhuoke's Weibo post was published. However, until this moment, there was no movement from Fengxing Studio. Ji Yan was completely dumbfounded. Damn it! What's going on? Sister Ji Yan, could it be that Xianxia is using her resources to suppress Fengxing Studio? Ji Yan furrowed her brows and suddenly ordered, Xiao Jing, help me contact the reporters. I want to hold a press conference the day after tomorrow, which is the weekend. Press conference? Ji Yan snorted coldly and said with a gloomy look in her eyes, there's probably nothing more powerful than the victim standing in front of the media and denouncing the culprit, right? On the evening of the weekend, an unexpected media conference suddenly became the focus of the entire internet. A number of first-line mainstream media focus, QQ live broadcast. Dressed in plain clothes, Ji Yan appeared in front of the camera with a haggard face. Her face was so pale that not a single trace of blood could be seen on it. She looked dull and lifeless, as if there was no color left in her. Chapter 26:20. Facing the microphones of the various media outlets, she finally made a sound. Since that incident, I've remained silent from beginning to end. I admit that I'm weak. I don't think I'm strong, so when I was bullied, I chose to retreat and leave this world. But now I've come to my senses, and I want to speak without hesitation. Please give me back my love. Please give me back my love. Newcomer Ji Yan faces the media for the first time and accuses the entertainment industry of being shady. I've loved acting since I was a child, and I like to try out every different role. Therefore, when I was in college, I applied for an acting major without hesitation. I yearned for the entertainment industry wholeheartedly, hoping that one day, I could step into this dazzling place, radiate my light and enthusiasm, and dedicate my life to this career. From the bottom of my heart, I hope that I can grow into a professional actor and perform well in every work. I hope that I can present my emotions to everyone. But, when I stepped into the production team for the first time in my life, with great expectations, reality poured a bucket of cold water on me. Only then did I realize that the entertainment industry is not the holy land I imagined it to be. The more radiant a place is, the deeper the shadows are hidden. Sometimes, things that look beautiful on the surface will never be known for their true colors. Before this, Xianxia had always been a senior and my idol whom I respected the most. I was very excited and happy to be able to work with her in the first film of my life. In my eyes, she was once so outstanding, but later on, I deeply understood a fact. How exactly did she use dirty means to climb up the rank step by step? The audience was in an uproar. On the internet, on TV, on the screen in the square, and on the live broadcast software, Ji Yan's heart-wrenching words shocked all the audience watching the press conference live. Under the attention of all the media, Ji Yan's tears fell like rain as she painfully accused Xianxia of all her crimes. It turned out that before joining the cast of Extreme Youth, she had begun a formal relationship with Gao Nan, the heir of the Gao group. The two had entered the honeymoon period, and their relationship had always been stable. It happened at a party. That day was her birthday. To celebrate, she invited the entire production team and cast to a bar for her birthday party. During the party, she vaguely sensed that something was amiss with the way Xianxia looked at Gao Nan. Afterward, the two went to the washroom one after another, with Hua Jin trailing behind. Soon, someone screamed at the washroom's entrance. The production team rushed over and found Hua Jin and Gao Nan in a scuffle. Hua Jin said that Gao Nan had touched Xianxia, but that was not the case. Afterward, Gao Nan told her that, during a break in the party, Xianxia had passed him a note with a few words written on it with an eyebrow pencil. "Waiting for you in the washroom." Feeling baffled, he went to meet her out of curiosity. However, when they were in the washroom, Xianxia changed her reserved and aloof attitude and lowered herself to seduce him. She even claimed that as long as she was given the role of the female lead, she would be his secret lover. Chapter 26-21. Unable to resist her seduction, Gao Nan got intimate with her in the washroom, which was witnessed by Hua Jin, who was tailing them. Hua Jin, who was in love with Xianxia, subconsciously thought that Gao Nan was forcing himself on Xianxia, so he immediately got into a fight with him. The people who came later immediately stopped the two. However, after the party ended on a sour note, Xianxia did not restrain herself at all. She called Gao Nan to ask him to have sex with her and even asked him to meet her at a hotel. Later, over the phone, she flirtatiously told him that she had specially brought along a sexy nightgown. Gao Nan then rushed to the hotel as promised, and the two had a night of sex. When she found out, she was in so much pain that she wanted to die. "I love Gao Nan more than my life. I devoted all my feelings to him, but I didn't expect that the senior I respected would come between me and the man I loved so much would betray me and cheat on me. Under these two blows, I couldn't recover from the setback and wanted to end my life decisively. However, after I was resuscitated, I swore that I would expose all the dark secrets behind this. Today, I'm standing here to expose the truth to the public. I implore everyone not to be blinded by appearances, and I hope that everyone can help me and cheer for my true love. Return the entertainment industry to a pure land. Make decisions for my true love. Cheer for my true love. Shameless." Xiaoxue's face was livid with anger, and she could not wait to go crazy. In the living room, Xianxia quietly stayed in front of the TV and silently watched Ji Yan's haggard and helpless face on the screen. She could not help but raise an eyebrow and take a deep breath. "I originally thought that her acting skills were terrible, but I didn't expect her to be the real drama queen at this critical moment." Fortunately, Yu and Xiaoyichen were not at home for school, so she did not have to worry about how angry and irritable the two little guys would be after watching this press conference. Seeing her calm demeanor, Xiaoxue became even more worried and cautiously asked, "Sure, aren't you angry?" "I'm very angry." "Why do you look so calm though?" Xiaoxia's lips curled into a smile as she stared at the screen. "It's because I'm too angry that I calmed down all of a sudden." Xiaoxue glanced at the TV screen. The atmosphere at the press conference was chaotic, with reporters constantly asking questions. Ji Yan seemed to be suppressing her grief and pulling herself together to answer them, but that disgusting face of hers, it made Xiaoxue's heart, she felt extremely twisted. Such a foul atmosphere was really disgusting. He did not know how Ji Yan managed to do it, but how she was able to spout such nonsense so confidently. Is she not afraid of retribution? The media ats, the press conference? All of a sudden, a reporter raised a question. "Miss Ji Yan, are you telling the truth?" "Of course. What I've said is the truth. What reason do I have to lie? Please believe me when I say that it takes a lot of courage and conviction to expose these dark secrets to the public. The entertainment industry is very complicated and dark. If I say this, I might be retaliated against at any time. I might even be blacklisted or shelved. But I don't care about that anymore. I'm not even afraid of death, so why should I be afraid of someone's revenge?" Now, there was another round of whispers and discussions. Everyone looked at each other, shocked and frightened by Ji Yan's bold statement. Chapter 26-22. In other words, she was implying that she would definitely seek revenge for exposing Yun Shishir's true colors. Ji Yan put on a righteous look, looking as if she was ready to face death with equanimity. Just then, a man suddenly stood up at the scene and asked meticulously, "Miss Ji, I'm Miss Huanyu." "Miss Ji Yan, I'm Huanyu Media's chief reporter, and I have a question for you. How can you prove the veracity of what you said based on your one-sided story? Please don't be offended by my abrupt question. I'm just curious if you have any substantial evidence to prove that Miss Yun Shishir is the culprit in your relationship." Ji Yan froze on the spot. "Evidence?" The man replied calmly and politely. "Yes. Evidence that Yun Shishir is the third party. Please show me the relevant evidence." "Do you have it?" The atmosphere at the scene was in a deadlock. In front of the TV screen, Xiao Shui was so excited that she couldn't control her laughter. "Ha ha ha! Are you stupid? How dare Ji Yan come out and embarrass herself with such mediocre skills? Who is this reporter? He's so handsome. I'm falling in love with him." Yun Shishir glanced at the man and saw his identity card. "Ah, isn't he a reporter from Huanyu Media?" "Huanyu? Aren't you the owner of the company?" "Huh. So he's one of us. No wonder he's on your side." Could this reporter have been planted by Qin Zhou? It was said that in the past, when there were press conferences that were unfavorable to their artists, lawyers from the company's legal department would be sent to the venue disguised as reporters. With just a few words, they could instantly change public opinion. It worked every time. Could this reporter also be a lawyer from the legal department in disguise? Everyone held their breaths and stared intently at the center of the stage, where Ji Yan sat at the desk with a somewhat uneasy expression. Her eyes were wide open in a daze, and there was a look of bewilderment and confusion on her harmless face. In the face of the reporter's question, she seemed to be powerless to answer and didn't know how to respond. Therefore, for a moment, she just stood there in a daze and didn't say a word. Her eyes kept darting around as if she was guilty of something. All the reporters gradually became a little impatient. Through the microphone, they urged her a few times, as if they were certain that she couldn't produce any evidence. A barrage of questions came at her like a cannonball. "Miss Ji Yan, could it be that you're jealous of Yun Shishir's soaring popularity, so you're deliberately making up something to smear her image? Yun Shishir is like a clear stream in the entertainment industry. From the beginning of her debut until now, there have been few scandals. What you said is indeed shocking, but as a media person, we have a responsible attitude, to verify the truth and restore the facts. This is also a responsibility to the public. Please show us the evidence. We can't just listen to your side of the story, can we? It's really hard to imagine that Yun Shishir is such a shrewd and evil woman as you said." There was a lot of discussion, and people kept raising doubts. Ji Yan suddenly clenched her fists tightly. She seemed to be at a loss and uneasy, as if she was sitting on a pincushion. Seeing that she had been silent for a long time, the reporters finally couldn't bear it anymore. "Why isn't she saying anything?" Chapter 26-23. "I think she's exaggerating. How can Yun Shishir be such a wanton woman? Still, it's very suspicious. After all, it's impossible for a newcomer like Yun Shishir to have so many golden resources right after her debut. She must have a sugar daddy behind her, but we don't know who that daddy is. Since she already has a sugar daddy behind her, why did she seduce Gao Nan? Are you stupid? Maybe she got tired of being toyed with by her sugar daddy and got kicked out. Besides, it's better to be seduced by a handsome man than anyone else. Gao Nan is very popular in showbiz, and many female stars are flocking to him. That makes sense. After all, Gao Nan is a rich second-generation heir with plenty of resources and looks good. He's much more pleasing to the eye than those fat old men." Seeing that the public opinion had reversed, the reporter from Huanyu continued to add fuel to the fire. "Ji Yan, if you can't produce any evidence, can I suspect that you're making up these rumors to smear Yun Shishir's reputation?" "Absolutely not." Ji Yan wanted to cry but had no tears. "I don't know what evidence you want." "It's very simple. I want evidence to prove that what you've said is true." Ji Yan was increasingly at a loss. Just as the scene was on the verge of going out of control, the door of the venue was suddenly pushed open. A man's steady voice pierced through the chaotic venue like a shot in the arm. You want evidence? Then, can my words be considered as evidence? Everyone turned to look at him. Ji Yan raised her head in surprise and met the eyes of the man at the door. Instantly, a mixture of emotions appeared on her face. Xianxia and Xiao Shui could not help but be startled. As the camera switched, Gao Nan's handsome figure in a suit appeared on the screen. Xiao Shui was completely stunned. Why is it him? Why did he appear at the press conference? What is he trying to do? Xianxia was also a little surprised. She could not figure out the purpose of his appearance. With his appearance, the scene quieted down at once. Amidst the silence, only the sound of breathing could be heard as everyone's eyes fell on him. His sudden appearance was beyond everyone's expectations. Gao Nan looked at Ji Yan, who was on the stage, and then looked around expressionlessly. Didn't you ask her for evidence? Then, as the person involved in this incident, can my words be established as testimony? The crowd sucked in a breath of cold air. His appearance immediately reversed the direction of the wind. Ji Yan stared blankly at Gao Nan until he stepped onto the stage and stood in front of her. Ignoring the dumbfounded expressions of the media, he studied her for a long time before he smiled and silently took her hand, his eyes full of guilt. I'm sorry. I think I'm late. All this time, I've let you suffer so much. Gao Nan's affectionate confession made Ji Yan burst into tears on the spot. Gao Nan. Shoo, don't say any more. It's all my fault. All this time, I've made you suffer so much grievance and pain. As your man, I've let you down time and time again. Now that I've thought it through, I've changed my mind. The person I truly love is you. So, give me another chance. Can you forgive me? Chapter 26-24. Ji Yan covered her mouth emotionally and stared at him in disbelief. Gao Nan. The man gave her a doting smile and interlocked his fingers with hers. He then turned around to face the crowd of reporters below the stage. I won't let her fight alone anymore. She's always shouldered everything silently, but from now on, I won't let her be alone. The moment he said that, the spotlights flashed violently. On the TV screen, Gao Nan firmly held Ji Yan's hand like a devoted lover. His face was full of regret and heartache, but more than that, there was a doting look that he had never shown before. Ji Yan covered her mouth in agitation and stared at him with tears of grievance falling down her cheeks as she hugged him tightly. Kacha, Kacha. Their affectionate hug instantly killed countless fans. In front of the TV, Xiao Shui watched the scene in a daze. The moment the two hugged each other tightly, her heart felt as if it was being torn into pieces by countless sharp claws. She thought that she had completely let go of him. However, when she saw the man who had been dating for so long, showing a doting look that he had never shown her to another woman, she suddenly felt that she was a joke. Idiot! Fool! I actually fell in love with such a man. I actually let such a man play with my feelings so ruthlessly. Xiao Shui couldn't take it lying down. Ji Yan and I have been dating for 2 months, and our relationship is stable. We started a serious relationship with the goal of marriage. However, I admit that I was greedy for her beauty and was bewitched by her, so I betrayed her and committed a mistake that all men in the world would commit. However, in the past few days, I realized that the one I truly love is this woman. After a pause, his tone suddenly became serious again. As for the so-called evidence you're talking about, I wonder if my words can be used as evidence? Immediately, a reporter raised his hand and asked, Mr. Gao Nan, may I ask if what Miss Ji Yan said earlier about Xianxia seducing you is true? Yes. Did Xianxia really make such a flirtatious invitation? Yes. Did you really go to the appointment? Yes. Then, did something really happen between you and Xianxia? Such a sharp question silenced the audience at once. Xiao Shui's eyes widened as she stared at his cold face, praying in her heart, don't do anything to hurt Xianxia. However, in the next second, a strange smile suddenly appeared on his face as he slowly nodded and pretended to be ashamed. Yes. The audience was in an uproar again. This sentence was presented to the entire nation through the live broadcast. His answer was undoubtedly to confirm that Xianxia was a third party. B*****. Xiao Shui screamed hysterically. She was so angry that she almost picked up the teacup in her hand and threw it at the TV screen. Xianxia immediately tried to calm her down. Xiao Shui, calm down.
How?
Chapter 26-25. She roared angrily and turned to look at Xianxia. She couldn't hide the guilt on her face, and the anger in her eyes was about to burst out. He can't do this. Xiao Shui's tears fell. It's fine if he hurts me. Why does he have to implicate innocent people? How can this man be so shameless? Xianxia was also trembling with anger. However, at this time, she was strangely calm. Or perhaps, she believed that even if the sky fell, there would be such a reliable man behind her to support her safety. Therefore, even if this press conference was broadcasted live, the public opinion would definitely turn against her. However, she wasn't afraid. She believed that her man would protect her. Don't worry, I'll take care of everything. This was the man's promise to her. Because of this sentence, she believed that no matter how the public opinion was against her, Wuxia would eventually turn the situation around. The press conference was over. The TV station soon played the next program, but Xiao Shui was still sitting in front of the TV. Her eyes were empty, and no one knew what she was thinking. At night, Xianxia sent Xiao Shui back to the Xiao family. Along the way, Xiao Shui was strangely silent. Her face was full of guilt, helplessness, and uneasiness. She looked at Xianxia's side profile again and again, but in the end, she didn't say anything. When they arrived at the door, Xianxia unlocked it and said to her, "I'll send you here today. Go home and rest early. Don't let your thoughts run wild, okay?"
Sure. Shui.
Xianxia gently covered the back of her hand and smiled gently. "I'm not alone. Even if the whole world doubts me and betrays me, I'm definitely not alone. So, don't worry too much about me, okay? It's all my fault. I'm sorry. Do you have to be so formal with me?" Xianxia smiled faintly. "I believe that everything will be fine." Xiao Shui nodded, pushed the door open, and got out of the car. The car sped away. Xiao Shui watched her leave and stood there for a long time until Mrs. Xiao heard the sound of the car engine and rushed out. Seeing her standing alone outside the door, she immediately greeted her with a worried look. "Why are you back so late? Where did he go? You didn't even answer my calls. I was so worried."
Mom.
Before Xiao Shui could say anything, tears began to fall from her eyes. On the way, Xianxia received a call from an unknown number. When she picked it up, she heard Gao Nan's smug and arrogant voice. "How is it? Did you watch the press conference?" "Gao Nan, it's you." The man smiled and then asked meaningfully, "How was it? Was the press conference exciting?" Xianxia took a deep breath and sneered, "Yes, I didn't expect your acting to be so good. If I wasn't the person involved, I would have believed your nonsense." "Oh, you flatter me. Do you know that you're spreading rumors? It's slander." Xianxia suddenly became agitated and blushed. "Aren't you afraid of retribution for defaming my innocence?" "Retribution? What retribution?" Chapter 26-26. What do you mean by that? There was a moment of silence on the other end before he said meaningfully, "Leave Wuxia and be with me. I'll hold another press conference to expose Jiyan's lies and clear your name." "Dream on," Xianxia retorted without hesitation. "You're more despicable and shameless than I thought. Did you deliberately perjure yourself just to force me to submit to you? Although it's a little despicable, I only care about the result and not the process." Gao Nan suddenly smiled and said viciously, "I, Gao Nan, have never failed to get a woman I want. Even if you don't belong to me, I'll do whatever it takes to get you." Xianxia hung up the phone angrily and threw it into the back seat. She then gripped the steering wheel tightly with a deep look in her eyes. Jiyan's press conference was like a bomb that completely ignited the topic of unspoken rules in the entertainment industry. Unspoken rules had always been a taboo in the entertainment industry. There was a tacit understanding between each other, but it was rarely exposed to the public. In the minds of fans, be it popular starlets or superstars, they were all as beautiful and otherworldly as they appeared on the screen. This was especially true for Xianxia. Through the movie The Green Apple, she had always been pure, sweet, and harmless in the eyes of her fans. However, the eruption of this incident completely put her in the center of public opinion. All the media outlets took action when they heard about it and began to capture rumors and gossip about her. Some reporters even interviewed Xianxia's junior high school and college classmates. They used all means possible to present all of her unbearable past in front of the public. 2 days later, Phoenix Media released a video. In the video, a reporter conducted an in-depth interview with Xianxia's former college classmates and conducted an anonymous interview with them. The video was edited, and the voices were blurred and the faces were pixelated. Everything was post-processed to protect the privacy of the informant. Xianxia is very famous in our school. She was in the class next to mine and was the campus belle when she was in college. Many boys liked her, but she didn't seem to have been in a relationship before. Many of them thought that she was very aloof. However, I actually have a good impression of her, though I heard that her family was very poor. She and I were in the same grade. When we were still in school, I heard that her family owed a lot of debts and she seemed to be in need of money. Many people said that she was so desperate for money that she would do anything to get it. I used to take electives with her. I remember that she didn't like to talk, but her grades were very good, so all the teachers liked her. I haven't heard any bad rumors about her. I don't like to pry into other people's privacy. Sorry, I can't say much. Chapter 26-27. She seemed to have taken a break from school for a while when she was in her second year of university. Later on, I heard that she got pregnant by accident. There are many versions of this incident, but the most popular one is that she got pregnant by accident, went through the procedures to take a break from school, and secretly gave birth to the child. I heard that she got a lot of money and paid off her family's debts. Actually, I feel that she's quite pitiful. She's so young, yet she has to sell her body like that. Xianxia is my senior. She usually takes care of me academically, but I heard that her reputation in school isn't very good. I heard that she entered the entertainment industry and is very popular. If it weren't for this interview, I wouldn't have known that the actress who plays Xianxia is the same person as her. Some of the rumors about her haven't been confirmed yet, but she gives me the feeling that she's very virtuous. Most of the men in class regard her as a goddess. Every morning, I can find a lot of love letters and chocolates on her desk, and even expensive bags and phones. This anonymous interview instantly spread all over the internet. Overnight, her Weibo followers increased by more than a few million, and it was still increasing. However, such an increase didn't mean that it was a good thing for her. Many fans followed her, but they went to her Weibo to criticize her, humiliate her, and complain about her. Shameless mistress. I hate mistresses the most. They're the most shameless people who get involved in other people's relationships. Although one was willing to hit and the other was willing to be hit, seducing someone else's boyfriend is extremely shameless. I used to like you because of the movie The Green Apple. Now that I think about it, it's really disgusting. I actually have a good impression of a third party. Shameless mistress. Xianxia. How dare you get involved in other people's relationships? You deserve to be killed by a car. Why aren't you dead yet? Get out of the entertainment industry quickly. Don't embarrass yourself here. Xianxia, you're shameless. Shameless. Get out of the entertainment industry quickly. The topic #Xianxia get out of the entertainment industry hashtag quickly became a trending topic. Regarding the incident of her getting involved in other people's relationships, the internet instantly formed a mighty army of anti-fans. They ran to her Weibo and bombarded her with comments filled with righteous indignation. They scolded, cursed, and humiliated her. Netizens were extremely sensitive to the keyword, third party. Perhaps many of them had experienced betrayal due to their feelings, so they hated the third party even more and empathized with them. Cyber violence was extremely terrifying. It could completely destroy a person without harming them at all. During this period, Huanyu was on high alert and cut short all of her public announcements. In order to deal with her matter, Jianghu was extremely busy. This incident had already become a phenomenon of cyber violence. No matter how many public relations teams Huanyu employed, it seemed to be quite difficult to quell the public's resentment. Over the past few days, Xianxia had not checked her Weibo. At the same time, there was a strange atmosphere on set. Ji Yan did not come to the set for the past few days. The director originally wanted to give her some time off, but Xianxia insisted on filming. She had no choice but to make herself busier. Otherwise, she really didn't know how to deal with the current situation. Chapter 26-28. For the past few days, he hadn't been online much. Moreover, Xianxia had rushed to the set early in the morning and sometimes came home late. Hence, he didn't notice that something was amiss. On this day, Xianxia had to work late at night. She had to film 2 scenes at night, so she didn't come home that night. After school, he went out to buy groceries and happened to see an entertainment newspaper that was on sale. He usually didn't pay attention to the newspaper and walked past it most of the time. However, the headline of the newspaper was too eye-catching. It was a large photo of Xianxia with a red circle. There was a candid photo in the background. In the photo, the lighting was extremely dim. He could only vaguely make out that the female lead in the photo was his dear mommy. However, the headline was, "The popular starlet who shot to fame overnight in the Green Apple was caught in a scandal after cheating on her boyfriend." He was shocked. He rushed to the newspaper stand and took a look. Then, he took out some change and bought the newspaper. When he got home, he read it carefully. The more he read, the angrier he got. Cheating? Seducing? How was that possible? Mommy was already married. Even if Mommy and Daddy weren't married, such a thing wouldn't have happened. Xianxia had just finished his homework and walked out. He saw Yu sitting on the sofa with a gloomy expression. There was a newspaper on the table next to him. Out of curiosity, he reached out to take it. Yu noticed his movement from the corner of his eye. He immediately stood up and snatched the newspaper away. "Don't look." Xianxia was shocked by his sudden movement. He widened his eyes and asked curiously, "What's wrong? What can't I look at?" Yu clutched the newspaper tightly and frowned. He suddenly said, "It's about Mommy's scandal. It's all fake. It's made up by the heartless media. Don't look at it." "What? Mommy's scandal?" Xianxia immediately reached out to grab the newspaper. Yu was caught off guard and the newspaper in his hand was snatched away by Xianxia. Before he could stop Xianxia had already skimmed through the newspaper. His eyes were burning with rage. He was so angry that he immediately tore the newspaper into pieces and threw it on the ground. Who wrote that? What kind of nonsense was this? Mommy seduced a man? How could this be? Who wrote this? Yu's eyes suddenly flickered, and he immediately rushed into the study and turned on the computer. However, as soon as he turned on the computer, he saw that the web page was unexpectedly closed. Out of curiosity, he clicked on it and saw that it was actually a video of Ji Yan's press conference. He clicked on the play button, and after a while, the video was presented to him in its entirety. Xianxia followed them into the study and sat down beside Yu. The 2 little guys suppressed their anger and watched the entire video. By the end, Yu was so angry that he almost smashed the keyboard. "Lunatic! Scum! This is obviously a rumor and slander," Yu said in exasperation. "Mommy would never do that." "Does Daddy know about this?" "No, he doesn't." Yu thought about it for a while and then opened Weibo. He would occasionally browse Weibo. For his mommy's sake, he had deliberately set up his Weibo account and only followed his mommy. He would also secretly follow some of his mommy's activities and enjoyed it. Chapter 26-29. On Weibo, Xianxia's scandal was getting more and more heated. The internet was flooded with denunciations of Xianxia, the third party, with the intention of using public opinion to drive her out of showbiz. "Xianxia, you shameless vixen. Get out of showbiz quickly and stop embarrassing yourself in front of us. Boycott all products endorsed by Xianxia and Lethal Beauty. There's definitely something wrong with a woman with such low morals acting in a TV series." That's right. I don't know what famous directors like Lin Fengtian and Gu Xiaoyang are thinking. How could they invite a woman like Xianxia to act in a TV series? Aren't they afraid of tarnishing their work? That's disgusting. I felt nauseous the whole night after finding out about this. Because of my own feelings, I've also been involved with a third party before, so I hate third parties to the core. There are scourges like Xianxia among women. That's why so many innocent girls have their hearts broken. The more Yu read, the angrier he became. He was actually very happy to see his mommy leave showbiz, but he would never allow her to be driven out of showbiz in such a manner. More than that, he would not allow anyone to tarnish his mommy's reputation. At the thought of this, he immediately contacted Li Hanlin and ordered him to investigate Gao Nan's background. Half a quarter of an hour later, Li Hanlin reported everything he knew about the man to him. "His uncle is Wang Chuanda?" Wang Chuanda was the CEO of Wank Real Estate. Although he had never dealt with him before, he knew that the man was a formidable figure. Still, Gao Nan, who was related to him by blood, had such a disgusting face. Director Yun, did Gao Nan do something to offend you? Humph. That man has offended me more than just a little. Yu continued expressionlessly. He's completely pissed me off. Wang Chuanda, right? Even if I have to offend him, I won't let Gao Nan off. Hanlin, send a car to pick me up immediately. Yes. After hanging up the phone, Yu pretended to leave. Xiao Chen immediately followed behind and asked, "Where are you going?" "I have something to do. Don't follow me." "I won't." Xiao Chen walked in front of him angrily, looking frustrated. "You're going to handle this alone again and leave me at home? Why can't I go?" "Mu Chen, I'm warning you. Once I get angry, I'm not the usual Yun Tian Yu. Don't follow me. There are some things that you can't get involved in." "Why can't I?" Xiao Chen was so agitated that his face turned red. "You're my younger brother. What can you do but I can't? You must be looking for Gao Nan, right? I'm with you. I have to protect you." "I don't need your protection," Mu Chen said firmly. "You need it. Because I'm your brother." Yu was stunned. He looked at him blankly before his lips curled into a smile. "Okay, I got it. If you're not afraid of being led astray by me, then follow me." "Humph. You're kidding. My younger brother isn't bad." Only then did little Yi Chen smile and hold his hand. The two lads walked out of the study with their arms around each other's shoulders, only to see Mu Yaja sitting elegantly on the sofa in the living room with his legs crossed. His aura was domineering. Chapter 26:30. The two boys were probably immersed in their anger over the video of the press conference, so they did not notice the commotion outside the door. Mu Yaja, with his arms crossed, sized them up calmly, his deep, handsome eyes scrutinizing them. "Where are you going?" His sudden question caught the two little lads off guard. Yu did not want him to know that he was going to settle scores with Gao Nan, so he pursed his lips and turned his head away. Mu Yaja's scrutinizing gaze landed on Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen had always experienced his imposing manner, so with just one look, he immediately lowered his head guiltily and stammered, We're going to sunbathe." He was not good at lying. Whenever he wanted to lie, his face would turn red and his mind would go blank. No matter how he tried to lie, it sounded lame.
"Oh,"
Mu Yaja replied.
"Sun?"
"I think the sun has set." Yu stomped on his foot harshly, exasperated at his son's failure to live up to his expectations. Xiao Chen endured the pain and did not make a sound as he shot him a resentful look. However, Mu Yaja asked faintly, "Are you guys going to look for Gao Nan?" It was not a question, but a statement.
"How did you know?"
"I saw the torn newspaper on the floor." Mu Yaja saw the newspaper, and with just one glance, he knew that Yu had begun to pay attention to this matter. Given his understanding of his son's character, whenever someone bullied his mommy, he would immediately investigate the person's background thoroughly. Then, he would return an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and return the grievances his mommy had suffered 1,000 times over. Yu was like that. He could not bear to see his mommy suffer even a little. "Mommy has been slandered as a third party. Don't you know about this?" Mu Yaja hummed expressionlessly. "I know. You know about this." Yu was extremely shocked. She went up to him angrily and asked, "Since Daddy knew about this, why didn't he do anything? Are you just going to watch Mommy get slandered and wronged?" "I've been preparing." "Prepare for what?" Mu Yaja suddenly grabbed his chin and whispered a few words into his ear. Yu's face instantly froze. His anger dissipated and was replaced by a look of utter astonishment. "Daddy, are you really going to announce this?"
"Yes."
Xiao Chen didn't hear anything and immediately ran over curiously. With a strange expression he asked, "What did Daddy say?" "Humph, I'm not telling you." Yu also started to keep her in suspense. Xiao Chen was instantly flustered. Yu pushed him aside in disdain and turned to ask, "Then Daddy, are you going to let Gao Nan off just like that?" "Of course not." Mu Yaja had investigated this matter. He even found out that Gao Nan had threatened his wife with the condition of being a mistress. As the Emperor of Huanyu, He had many eyes and ears in the entertainment industry. With his extensive influence, he could find out exactly what had happened that night. It wasn't as if there were no witnesses at the scene. A waiter who passed by the washroom had heard the intense argument between the two. Even now, Gao Nan was still coveting his woman. As a man, this was definitely an intolerable provocation. Then why haven't you dealt with him yet? Chapter 26:31. It's so boring to just deal with it. Mu Yaja cursed inwardly for a while before his lips curled into a sinister smile. My good son, have you thought of any fun tricks? Yu racked his brains for a long time before his eyes lit up and he laughed sinisterly. Even Mui Chen, who was watching from the side, could not help but feel a chill run down his spine and up his spine from the bottom of his feet. Daddy, do you know that there's a saying, you'll have to swallow 1,000 needles if you lie? The night was dark. In the villa's huge bedroom, the sound of a man and a woman panting to their heart's content could be heard. The battle lasted for a long time before it finally ceased. Another half an hour later, the door finally opened. An exquisitely dressed woman walked out. Although she was dressed modestly, her messy hair showed just how intense the battle had been. Gao Nan walked out of the bathroom and leaned against the door. He looked at the woman's back as she fixed her hair in front of the dressing mirror and raised a brow. You're leaving already?
Yes.
It's getting late. I'll give you a lift. No need. I've already driven. The woman looked back and smiled as she twirled the keys in her hand. This Audi R8 was a birthday gift from Gao Nan a few days ago. He smiled and tried to persuade her to stay. At least, have a drink with me before you leave. The woman saw through his thoughts and snorted. Do you want me to stay here for the night because I can't drive after drinking? He smiled. Why? You don't want to? I really can't today, she said solemnly. Gao Nan's face quickly sank. His cold expression showed just how displeased he was at the moment. The woman immediately walked up to him and lazily hooked her arm around his shoulder. She then said coquettishly, I really can't tonight. I have an appointment with a few sisters to play cards. I can't stand you up. Tomorrow. Tomorrow night, okay? You won't have this chance tomorrow. There will be another woman replacing you. He said it so coldly that it sounded like a threat. Startled, the woman hugged his shoulder and kissed him repeatedly. Darling, don't be like this. It's not that I don't want to accompany you. I'm just afraid that if I'm late, the paparazzi will be waiting for news like last time. When that happens, I'll be staying here for the night again. You'll definitely be troubled. He did not say anything, but he silently agreed to her words. The woman left reluctantly after a deep kiss with him. Losing interest, Gao Nan slowly walked to the bar counter and pulled out an aged bottle of dry red wine. Just as he was about to open it, the doorbell rang. He raised his eyebrows suspiciously, thinking that this woman had thought it through and came back to look for him. Thus, he lazily walked to the door and opened it, but there was no one outside. Just as he was about to close the door, it was blocked by a small tender hand. Startled, Gao Nan immediately lowered his head to look, only to see a well-dressed little lad standing at the door with a smile on his face. His posture was refined and elegant. Sorry to disturb. Disturbing. Gao Nan frowned and coldly asked, Who are you? As soon as he said that, Yu pushed the door open a wider gap. Gao Nan was surprised to see a boy slightly taller than him standing beside him. Although their facial features were identical, the aura they exuded was different. Chapter 26:32. Where did this kid come from? Yu politely asked, Can we come in? What for? Gao Nan was flustered. He did not have the leisure to deal with two homeless children. Losing his patience, he moved to close the door, but Mui Chen was even more impatient. Seeing that he was about to close the door, he kicked it open. Gao Nan was caught off guard and fell to the ground from the impact. Mui Chen's strength was so terrifying that cracks appeared on the high-quality solid wood door. Yu gracefully walked in. Sorry to disturb you. Mui Chen entered the room as well, but his expression was no longer friendly. Like a lion cub, he glanced at him coldly from the corner of his eyes. Unable to contain his anger, he lunged forward and grabbed the lapel of his bathrobe. Clenching his fists, he was about to land a punch on his face. Behind him, however, came the man's cold voice. Xiaoyi Chen, don't mess around.
Daddy.
Xianxia pouted and glanced at the door. I don't have the patience to talk nonsense with him. Let's beat him up first. Gao Nan was at a loss as to why the two children had barged into his house. He did not know what kind of capabilities these kids had to be able to come here and spout nonsense. However, when he heard Mu Yichen's words, he followed his line of sight to the door. Mu Yaja slowly walked in and closed the door indifferently. Perhaps it was because he was lying on the ground, but at that moment, the tall and slender man's image suddenly towered in Gao Nan's eyes. He was like an insurmountable mountain that buried him in the dark shadows. Mu Yaja, why are you here? Mu Yaja coldly curled his lips into a playful smile. Are you surprised to see a stray dog like me? A stray dog. How did he know that Gao Nan had been criticizing him behind his back? Ever since Mu Yaja stepped down from the Mu group, Gao Nan had been teasing him and calling him a stray dog. This was an undeniable fact. What he did not know was that Mu Yaja was the founder of Jianghu Financial Group. You. How did you? Before Gao Nan could finish his words, he suddenly realized something. It was as if a taut nerve in his brain had snapped. He looked at the child who was grabbing his lapel and compared it to Mu Yaja's face. Suddenly, he understood something. This is his child? Upon closer inspection, this child's eyebrows and eyes look very similar to Xianxia. Is this their child? Gao Nan sucked in a breath of cold air in shock. Yun has a child. What? What do you want? Mu Yichen, let him go, Mu Yaja ordered. Mu Yichen refused to let go. The man sighed, walked over, and held the angry little guy in his arms. Mu Yichen struggled for a while, but Mu Yaja immediately stopped him. Be good. Mu Yichen reluctantly learned to be obedient. Mu Yaja walked over and sat down on the sofa with Mu Yichen in his arms. Then he whispered in his ear, Little fool, we're only responsible for watching the show today. Xiao Yichen. Chapter 26:33. After a moment of shock and anger, the corners of his lips twitched. Young Master Mu, what are you doing? Why did you bring your family to my house? Uncle Gao, on account of your uncle being the CEO of Wank Group, Wang Chuanda, can I give you a piece of advice? Advice. The more Gao Nan listened, the more incredulous he found it. He could not help but laugh in anger. What kind of attitude are you using to talk to me? Yu blinked gently and did not say a word, only looking at him. Gao Nan continued. You said you want to give me a piece of advice. I'm all ears. You can tell me what advice you want to give me. I've seen the video of that press conference. Uncle Gao, you're really thick-skinned. You didn't even blink when you lied. Still, if you hold a press conference tomorrow to clarify this matter, I won't hold it against you. His soft and innocent voice was clear and pleasant to the ear. Yu's voice was still as childish as Su Rian's, but it was very pleasant to the ears. The man laughed out loud. Are you ordering me around? Yes. He admitted it directly. I don't intend to discuss this with you. You have to do this because a good child shouldn't lie. Gao Nan was stunned for a moment before he laughed contemptuously. What right do you have to order me around? After a pause, he glanced at Mu Yaja from the corner of his eye. Just because you're a stray dog for a father? A stray dog. Yu looked at Mu Yaja in surprise and then burst into laughter. The latter's face instantly turned ashen. Daddy, why did he say that you're a stray dog? Mu Yaja did not reply. Gao Nan coldly said, Daddy? What a childish way of addressing me. He did not want to argue with a child, so he turned to Mu Yaja and said coldly, Mu Yaja, I used to respect you because you were the CEO of the Mu Group and the rightful successor of Dishing Financial Group. At that time, you were really in a prominent position. You don't even put my uncle in your eyes. In front of you, he's as obedient as a grandson. When you show off your strength to him, he doesn't even dare to fart. Due to my uncle's prestige, I had no choice but to obediently lower my head to you. But in my heart, I have never been convinced by you. Who do you think you are? You're just born a little better than me. Other than that, you're more capable than me. But other than that, what else do you have that's better than me? After a pause, he sneered again. But what's that saying again? As the saying goes, every dog has its day. You're no longer the CEO of Mu Group. You're no longer as glorious as you used to be. You're also no longer the future successor of Mu Group that everyone respects. I heard that you were expelled from the Mu family. How is it? How did it feel to fall from the peak to the bottom of the abyss overnight? Wasn't it humiliating? I don't know how miserable your life is right now, but your woman has been wronged, and you actually brought 2 stray dogs to me to get to the bottom of it? Hee hee. Who do you think you are now? What can you do to me? Mu Yaja was not angered by his blatant humiliation. Instead, he smiled elegantly and said unhurriedly, "You're right about one thing, but you're also wrong about another." What do you mean? Gao Nan did not understand what he meant. Chapter 26:34. What do you mean? I used to have a prominent status, and your uncle was as obedient as a grandson whenever he saw me. This is true. Every dog has its day, and now that I'm down and out, I'm no longer as glorious as I used to be. This isn't right. Gao Nan was dumbfounded. Mu Yaja looked at him coldly. Suddenly, he gave him a deep smile with a hint of devilish charm in his eyes. That's because I'm even more glorious than before. Do you think that I can't do anything to you just because I'm no longer the Mu Group CEO? You seem to be a little naive. I hope you understand one fact. Even if you die in my hands today, your family won't blame it on me. Gao Nan was exasperated. What bullshit tea are you spouting? Yu was also getting impatient. Gao Nan, at the end of the day, you just don't want to clarify this matter, right? You don't have the right to speak here. Yu's face darkened when he heard that, and his eyes turned sharp. In the next second, Mu Chen jumped down from Mu Yaja's lap, walked up to him, and raised his head to ask, "Then, may I ask why my brother doesn't have the right to speak?" Before Gao Nan could respond, Mu Chen's eyes turned cold as he delivered a karate chop to his knee at lightning speed. The man let out a muffled groan as his eyes turned ferocious. In the next second, his legs gave way, and he fell to his knees. Pain. It was an extraordinary pain. He did not know how much strength this lad had used, but when his hand chopped at his knee, he actually heard the sound of bone cracking. Kneel and talk. Gao Nan glared at him fiercely. Are you kidding me? You want me to kneel before a child? Is that even possible? He got down on one knee, and his body swayed for a while before he tried to stand up. When Mu Chen saw this, he lifted his leg and gave him another kick. With a crack, the man's leg joint was broken. Ah! Disregarding his poise, he groaned as he hugged his knees and fell to the ground. Mu Chen coldly took a step forward, lifted his leg, and stomped hard on the man's knee. The broken part was crushed by gravity again, and the man broke out in a cold sweat from the pain. Must you suffer a little before you become obedient? Yu suddenly stood up and walked to his side. She squatted down and patted his cheek with her little hand. She frowned in confusion. Am I too gentle with you? Is that why you don't take me seriously? What are you trying to do? Asked the man through gritted teeth. You bullied my mommy. Can't I bully you back? Yu sneered and looked him up and down. Her beautiful eyes narrowed into 2 crescent moons. Let's play a game, okay? Although the lad had an elegant smile on his face, his eyes were too gloomy. It was not a look a child should have. Gao Nan's lips quivered in disappointment. He could not help mocking the lad inwardly. He had lived for so long, yet he had never been frightened by a child's gaze. Yu asked airily, do you know that if a person lies, he or she has to swallow 1,000 needles? What? I used to wonder how a person would react if he or she swallowed 1,000 needles. It must be very interesting, right? Do you want to give it a try? Gao Nan retreated in shock. He suddenly felt that the child in front of him was terrifying. Chapter 26:35. Yu furrowed his brows and pouted. It's better for you to cooperate. If you struggle, you'll suffer a lot, and the gains won't make up for the losses. You don't mess around. Gao Nan panicked all of a sudden. It was true that this was a child of about 6 or 7 years old, which was still very young, but from the sharp look in his eyes, it did not seem like he was joking. He subconsciously looked at Mu Yaja, only to see Mu Chen walking up to him and strangling him from behind. Gao Nan struggled violently, but Mu Chen did not give him the chance to do so. Using his hand as a knife, he viciously chopped at his shoulder. With a clear sound of dislocation, he actually dislocated Gao Nan's shoulder joint. Ah! Gao Nan cried out in pain as cold sweat drenched his back. Alas, Mui Chen did not give him any chance to breathe. With another crack, he twisted Gao Nan's elbow and twisted it into a weird angle. Gao Nan was completely powerless to struggle. Mui Chen grabbed his hair and without knowing where his strength came from, Gao Nan felt himself being thrown to the ground. With a loud bang, the back of his head hit the ground hard, and his brain was in turmoil. At that moment, he was completely flustered. He suddenly realized that, although it was hard to believe, these two children were not easy to deal with. This was especially so when he saw Yu take out a small box from his pocket and gently open it. Inside were silver needles of varying thickness, some were pins, some were thumbtacks, and some were very small needles. He carried the box to Gao Nan, squatted down in front of him, and smiled with narrowed eyes. Then the game shall begin.
No, don't.
Gao Nan shook his head desperately. His eyes widened in panic as he finally understood what fear was. He immediately begged for mercy.
No.
This game isn't fun at all. I won't play with you. You don't have the final say in this.
No. No, I'll die.
Perhaps it was because he had one foot in the jaws of death that he finally understood the seriousness of the matter. As a man, his eyes turned red from fear and he immediately said, I promise you. I'll hold a press conference tomorrow and explain everything to the public. That day. Everything I said that day was a lie. I was just playing along with Ji Yan's act. I was just trying to smear Yun Shishi's reputation because I couldn't get her. I can say whatever you want, so, let me go, okay? His frantic pleading did not elicit any response from Yu. He furrowed his delicate eyebrows and tilted his head in distress. What should I do? I've already changed my mind. Even if you immediately hold a press conference, I still won't forgive you.
Mr. Mu.
Gao Nan immediately struggled to turn around and beg Mu Yaja for mercy. From the corner of his eye, he saw the man calmly taking out a cigarette box. With a flick of his wrist, the man put a cigarette in the corner of his mouth and quietly lit it. He slowly took a puff and turned a blind eye to the man's cries for mercy. Chapter 2636. Baby, be gentler. Mu Yaja finally opened his mouth to speak, but his tone was extremely sinister. Don't go overboard. Know when to stop, okay? Got it, Daddy. Yu smiled obediently, looking like an elegant little gentleman. However, in Gao Nan's fearful eyes, this child with a warm smile was as terrifying as a little demon. Gao Nan watched as Xiao Chen walked up to him, grabbed his chin, and pinched his cheeks, forcing his mouth wide open. Yu held a box in one hand and a suture needle in the other as he slowly approached him with a smile. Ah. In the middle of the night, an ambulance rushed into the hospital. A group of medical staff nervously carried out a trembling patient from the ambulance. Several doctors were already waiting at the entrance. Earlier, someone had called the police to report that someone had accidentally swallowed a silver needle and called for help. The doctors on duty were puzzled. Accidentally swallowed a silver needle? They had been doctors for so many years, and they had seen many ignorant children swallow many strange things by mistake. However, an adult, and a mentally sound adult at that, actually swallowed it by mistake for a while. Could it be that he was mentally deranged? The patient who was sent to the hospital was none other than Gao Nan. His body was stiff as he lay on the stretcher, and his muscles were twitching non-stop. The doctor's initial diagnosis was that the patient was suffering from epilepsy. However, when he was sent to the emergency room and examined carefully, he was shocked to find that the reason why the patient was trembling was because his joints had been severely dislocated. In some places, there were even signs of dislocation, which affected his nerves. That was why he was trembling. The most shocking thing, though, was the patient's mouth. It was a ghastly sight, dripping with blood. His lips, tongue, and oral cavity were pierced with silver needles of different lengths. Some pierced through the tip of his tongue, while others pierced through the oral cavity. At a glance, it was truly chilling. It was hard to imagine how painful it was to have so many needles pierced through the mouth. The treatment of the wound was relatively simple. After all, it was not a major injury. As long as the needle was slowly pulled out, the bleeding was stopped, disinfected, and medicine was applied, there would be no major problems. However, the right wrist was obviously fractured, the left kneecap was cracked, and there were different contusions on the knee. The specific details would require a CT scan to understand the extent of the injury. Just as the doctor was about to push him into the X-ray room, the patient on the bed suddenly screamed and groaned. His facial features were distorted as he cried out in pain. "It hurts. Ah, it hurts." The doctors thought that the pain was caused by a fracture. The nurse comforted him for a while, but the man suddenly straightened up. With a ferocious look in his eyes, he tugged at the doctor's sleeve and said with difficulty, I swallowed 3 needles. Take them out. Take them out." As soon as his voice fell, it seemed that he had used too much force, and he vomited another mouthful of blood. The doctors were shocked and immediately realized the seriousness of the matter. They began to examine him, only to realize that the man did not dare to speak because there was a very small needle in his throat. After the examination, they found that there were 2 more needles in his esophagus and stomach. If they did not handle it properly, his life would be in danger. Chapter 26:37. Gao Nan was immediately wheeled into the operating room. The surgery went on for an entire night before he barely made it through. Yu did not use too much force this time and did not make him swallow 1,000 needles. However, this incident caused Gao Nan's instinctive fear whenever he saw sharp objects. Of course, this was all in the future. Gao Nan was injured and hospitalized. The next day, the Gao family hurried to the hospital, but Gao Nan did not say anything in the face of their questions. He dared not say anything. He was truly afraid of the father-son trio from the bottom of his heart. They were too scheming and vicious. They dared to do what they said. This was especially true for that child named Yu, who was simply a little devil. Of course, Gao Nan did not dare to say anything. He only said that his throat was in severe pain and that he needed to rest. On the 3rd day of his hospitalization, Wang Chuanda came. The moment he arrived, he dismissed everyone in the Gao family, saying that he had something to talk to Gao Nan alone. As soon as he closed the door, he turned around and sat in front of the bed. With a worried expression, he said, "Didn't I tell you to keep a distance from Wuxia? I even warned you that you are not allowed to have any ideas about his woman. What about you? Did you turn a deaf ear to my words?" Gao Nan lay on the bed with his eyes closed and brows furrowed, but he did not speak. Wang Chuanda continued, "Do you think that Wuxia is really a stray dog and has nothing left after leaving the Mu Group? Don't you know that he's the behind-the-scenes boss of Xianxia Financial Group, which has just been listed recently? Do you know that the Mu Group is now gnashing their teeth in hatred whenever they hear his name? Most of the Mu Group's resources are in his hands. Now that he's gone, he's leaving without looking back. At the same time, he's taking the Mu Group's core resources with him. What do you have to fight with him?" This was the first time Gao Nan had heard of this matter. He knew about Xianxia Financial Group but did not pay attention to it. Hence, he did not know that the behind-the-scenes boss was Wuxia. How is that possible? His throat was injured, so he could only utter some broken syllables. When Wuxia left the Mu Group, many core technical talents followed him to Xianxia. Some even abandoned their million-yuan annual salaries and jumped ship. Most of the senior figures left with him, leaving the Mu Group an empty shell. Do you think the Mu Group is still as glorious as before? Ha! As the saying goes, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. I think Mu Group will soon be on its last legs. Gao Nan's eyes. I know that you'll fall for a woman sooner or later. Don't you know that there's a femme fatales? Because if you like them they're your too. It's you women but not use Mu. What mattered was that those who were willing to take the bait could not be forced. Who do you think you are? There's always someone better than you. There are countless men in the country who are more capable than you. You're to blame for thinking too highly of yourself. Gao Nan did not speak from beginning to end. Wang Chuanda glanced at his nephew and sighed. Fortunately, I've settled this matter for you. As long as you don't go looking for trouble with Xianxia, Wuxia won't pick on you. Chapter 26:38. He actually wanted to ask about the background of Wuxia's 2 sons, but he found it laughable at the same time. He had actually been defeated by 2 children. In the end, he felt really bad about it. After thinking about it, he decided not to ask or say anything. During the few days that Gao Nan was hospitalized, the public opinion on the internet never stopped. At first, Huan Yu decided to deal with the matter coldly. They did not respond, acknowledge, refute, or deal with the matter because it would only make things worse. Moreover, Huan Yu could not come up with any substantial evidence to prove that Ji Yan's words were baseless slander. The more they tried to explain, the worse the situation would become, and it would only give Ji Yan an opportunity to take advantage of it. Alas, with Ji Yan's incessant efforts to hype things up, various PR articles were published, including those scolding Xianxia as a shameless third party. For a time, this matter almost became a phenomenal event. Netizens scolded Xianxia on the internet, on Tieba, and on Weibo. The whole internet was full of posts about the incident. Some netizens even dug out the content of the recording of The Love Diary. When Xianxia and Xianxia were on a date, the innocence and naivety she showed were so dazzling now. Netizens mocked her for being pretentious, pretending to be innocent and pure like a white lotus. What the netizens did not know was that these were all scripts provided by the program team, and Xianxia was just following the script step by step. When the situation got out of hand, several actors who had a good relationship with Xianxia stood up for Xianxia. Among them, Yang Mi was one of them. She posted on Weibo, "The innocent will always be innocent. Time will clear your name. All the best, girl." Netizens focused fire and insulted Yang Mi and the other actors who stood in Xianxia's camp. Yang Mi's Weibo was the worst hit, with many netizens accusing her of using Huan Yu's popularity to create hype. She was so angry that she blocked the comments on Weibo and even almost logged out. Under Huan Yu's strict order, she could only suspend her updates. Yang Mi's Weibo was suspended, and Xianxia's Weibo was also suspended by Huan Yu, prohibiting her from going online. All the parties involved in this incident suspended their Weibo. The netizens were full of anger and had nowhere to vent, so they targeted the production team of Lethal Beauty and the satellite channel that was broadcasting the TV series. The netizens jointly protested, saying that they didn't buy Xianxia's TV series. All the satellite TV stations acted as if they were facing a great enemy, and their viewership ratings plummeted. The production team had no choice but to announce to the public that it was due to sensitive content changes, and they suspended the broadcast of the series. This was the first time in history that due to the spontaneous boycott of the netizens, the satellite channel and the production team were forced to stop broadcasting a drama. The scariest thing was, quite a number of fans got angry and went to the set of Extreme Youth to cause trouble. However, Xianxia's fans did not care. "You can boycott your fans, I'll protect mine." Therefore, Xianxia and Xianxia's die-hard fans banded together and guarded the entrance of the set to protect their idol's safety. The fans of the two sides got into a conflict and fought at the entrance of the set. In the end, many people were injured. The media reported this incident, and soon, the production team of Extreme Youth also announced that they would suspend filming. "We can't deal with it coldly anymore." Chapter 2639. If things continue to develop like this, things will only get out of hand.
I know.
Xianxia looked like she was having a headache. "I don't know what I should do. I don't know how to explain it to them. I clearly didn't do it, but the funny thing is that the netizens are asking an innocent person to provide evidence to prove her innocence." Fans are very blind because they only believe what they hear and see. Once the first impression is the strongest, the subsequent words will be regarded as sophistry, and it's difficult to trust them. Especially you, Xianxia. Being beautiful is your strength, but it's also your weakness. Women make up the majority of the fan base, and they will instinctively resist and reject beautiful women if there's even the slightest flaw in them. Do you understand this principle?
Xianxia nodded gently and hummed.
I understand.
It's good that you understand.
I thought things wouldn't become so serious.
Wouldn't become so serious.
Ji Lin suddenly opened a drawer, took out a stack of letters, and spread them out in front of her. Xianxia was startled and asked in surprise, "What are these?" "These are letters sent to you by your fans. Of course, don't think too much about it. They're either dead rats, razor blades, or even more disgusting things." As soon as the incident broke out, Ji Yan immediately hired the best public relations team in the country to handle it. It had to be said that the public relations team's methods were really brilliant. Not only did they exaggerate that Ji Yan was hurt by love and committed suicide by cutting her wrists, but they also tarnished Xianxia's image. Xianxia looked at the letters, some of which were still unopened, but she didn't need to think to know what kind of vicious words were contained in them. Her fans must have hated her to the core and were utterly disappointed in her. She once thought that it would be better to take this opportunity to withdraw from the entertainment industry and disappear completely. But on the other hand, she was unwilling to give up. Wouldn't that make her look like a coward? She clearly didn't do anything wrong, but once she announced her withdrawal from the entertainment industry, it would look like she had a guilty conscience and admit to it. She didn't do anything wrong, so why should she withdraw from the entertainment industry? Ji Yan was the one who made a mistake, and she was the one who wanted to leave the entertainment industry. With this resentment, she had persevered until now amidst all the slander. She didn't let Mu Yaja know about this. He only said that he would arrange everything, so she endured the humiliation and waited. However, when she saw the pile of letters again, Xianxia finally couldn't hold on any longer. The grievances that she had endured for the past few days all turned into tears. However, she stubbornly bit her lips and didn't let her tears flow. "I'm sorry for the trouble." She sincerely apologized. She had handled her personal affairs inappropriately and had caused the company to bear so much pressure. Ji Lin looked at her guilty face, and his usual cold face finally broke the ice, showing a helpless and distressed look. He had always been very strict with her. He rarely smiled at her. For Xianxia, he was like a strict teacher, but more like a strict father. He had strict requirements for her, and her execution ability was also very high. She was the most obedient artist in the company. Even if she often caused trouble for him, her character was very sincere. Ji Lin thought about it. Was he being too strict with her? Chapter 2640. After all, she was a girl. Wasn't he being too harsh on her? Looking at Xianxia's aggrieved expression, his heart, which had always been as cold as ice, finally softened a little. He shouldn't be so harsh on her. She was the one who had been wronged, but in the end, she was the innocent party. Wasn't she silently bearing the pressure too? Thinking of this, Ji Lin smiled helplessly. It's not considered causing trouble. It's my responsibility to clean up the mess for you. This is what I should do. I don't mean to blame you either. Xianxia raised her head and looked at him. Ji Lin continued, "You know that I've never been good at expressing myself. I'm very serious when it comes to work, and I'm also very strict with the artists under me. However, that aggrieved expression on your face just now reminded me of my sister. She always blames me for not being good with words and smiles. She always has a serious expression and is not easy to get close to." Xianxia didn't know why Ji Lin suddenly said this. However, when she saw his gentle expression, she actually felt a rare sense of closeness. Xianxia stuttered for a while and suddenly said, "Director, I'm not used to you being like this. You should keep a straight face." Ji Lin was speechless. Did this stupid woman have masochistic tendencies? He suddenly changed the topic. "I heard that you're leaving the entertainment industry?" Xianxia was stunned and nodded. "Yeah. It's good to leave the entertainment industry. This industry doesn't suit you. In this industry, you'll easily be taken advantage of if you don't have some tricks up your sleeve. Chairman Mu is a good husband. Even if you don't work, he can still support you. It's not a bad choice to leave the entertainment industry and be a full-time housewife. This isn't a shameful thing. You should feel happy." Ji Lin rarely said such things to her. Xianxia couldn't help but feel flattered. However, even if you're leaving the entertainment industry, you have to leave in a dignified manner. You can't be embarrassed at all. Otherwise, you, me, and Huanyu won't be satisfied.
Then what should I do?
How should I deal with it? Xianxia was at a loss for a moment. Ji Lin deliberated for a while and was about to speak when Qin Zhou's playful voice suddenly came from the door. "What else can you do? Hold a press conference and checkmate her." Xianxia was stunned. The two of them turned to look at the door, Qin Zhou, who had entered, and was leaning against the door with a determined expression. Ji Lin frowned. "How did you get in? The door's not locked. Don't knock." Qin Zhou's face turned cold. When Qin Zhou heard this, he immediately raised his hand and gently knocked on the door. Instead, he smiled. "Is it done? CEO Ji. Come in." Qin Zhou walked in and took a seat beside her. Unlike his previous dejection, the current him had returned to his former high-spirited appearance. Seeing his spirited appearance, Ji Lin raised his eyebrows. "Have you thought of a countermeasure?"
Yes.
Chairman Mu said that it's time to hold a press conference to clarify this matter.
A press conference.
Xianxia was stunned. Jilin asked, "What plans do you have?" "What else can we do? Let's have Xianxia and Ji Yan face each other." "A face-to-face confrontation? Ji Yan won't come," Xianxia said suddenly. "If it's a face-to-face confrontation, it'll be disadvantageous for her. She won't put herself in danger. The current situation is in her favor. She won't attend the press conference." Chapter 26:41. How is that possible? Xianxia asked again. "How are you going to invite her to the event?" Qin Zhou winked mysteriously. "Listen to my arrangements when the time comes." "Yes, sir." 2 days later. Many media outlets received invitations. Under Mu Yaja's instructions, Qin Zhou sent out invitations to 10 authoritative media outlets about Xiaxia's official apology to Ji Yan. After a long time, Huan Yu's official Weibo finally updated its status. "There have been some rumors about our company's artist, Xianxia. We will hold a press conference to solemnly explain the facts and apologize to the public." As soon as the post was posted, there was an uproar. What does this mean? Could it be that Huan Yu had tacitly approved of this matter by issuing this notice? Some media celebrities also took pictures of the invitations they received and uploaded them to the internet, saying that Xiaxia's agency would hold a grand press conference a week later to apologize to Ji Yan and clarify the facts. The netizens were completely shocked and restless. Xiaxia finally admitted that she was the third party. Xiaxia is going to apologize to Ji Yan. Many enthusiastic netizens went to Ji Yan's Weibo to encourage her to attend the press conference and face it head-on. There were even netizens who said that there was no need to be polite when dealing with a third party. They would directly slap her and humiliate her in front of the live broadcast camera. Some netizens even clamored that if they were invited to the press conference, they would definitely push Xiaxia to the ground and trample her to death. Under the pressure of the public, even though Ji Yan was reluctant to show her face, she finally nodded in response to the expectations of the public and her passionate fans. "If someone sincerely apologizes, I'm willing to forgive them generously." Immediately, some fans commented indignantly, "Why should you forgive them? A third party doesn't deserve sympathy. Even if they cry and repent at the press conference, they won't be forgiven for the rest of their lives. Why should I forgive them?" "Don't forgive them. Yan, I used to be a fan of that B*TCH, but now I'm firmly on your side to defend love and dignity. Yan, you're the best. Beat up the third party." The public's indignation towards the third party was surprisingly high. Ji Yan, on the other hand, was caught off guard by this announcement. "Apologize? How could this be? Xiaxia is such a proud person. She would have to be crazy to lower her head and apologize to me." "But you can't not participate." The person in charge of the public relations team said, "Huan Yu played their cards beautifully. If you don't go, the public will inevitably have some complaints about you. What's more, Huan Yu acted first and reported later, directly notifying all the reporters. All the reporters will be eager to report this matter. If you don't go, you'll be standing all the media up. The reports will definitely be written in a direction unfavorable to you. But actually, it doesn't matter if you go. When you're there, you just have to grit your teeth. No matter what tricks Xiaxia plays, you just have to insist that she interfered in your relationship and that she's a despicable third party. When it was necessary, he could show off some tricks." The public liked it very much, and the media reporters were happy to see it happen. As a reporter, the more shocking the topic, the more interested they are. Chapter 26:42. A week passed in the blink of an eye. The press conference hall was set up in the main venue of Huan Yu Tower. Firstly, it was out of consideration for Xiaxia's personal safety. Secondly, it was arranged in Huan Yu Tower so that the security would be under their control. The press conference was set to be held at 7 p.m. However, at 6 p.m., the media and reporters entered the venue one after another to set up their cameras and equipment. Everyone was on high alert, and the staff had already set up the venue early. This press conference was very grand. How grand was it? Many reporters were even puzzled by the fact that more than 100 seats were set up for a press conference. In addition to the 10 authoritative media outlets invited, there were also dozens of special press seats for media outlets and website portals. What was more surprising was that many foreign media outlets were also invited. Everyone looked at each other, not knowing what was going on. This was the theme of the press conference. Wasn't Xianxia going to apologize to the public for being a third party? Why did they invite foreign reporters then? Could this incident have alarmed the overseas media? Everyone was puzzled. Wuxia had also arrived at the venue early. She saw that the venue was full of media seats, and the logos of various portals were placed in front of the tables. Looking at the crowded main venue, she stood at the side anxiously, not knowing if the press conference would go smoothly. Xianxia did not say much to her, only telling her not to express any opinions and just to follow his orders. She heard from a reporter friend that the theme of this press conference was that Xianxia was going to apologize to Ji Yan on the spot. She was about to explode with anger. How could Xianxia do this? Xianxia clearly did nothing wrong, so why should she apologize to Ji Yan? Ji Yan should be the one apologizing, right? However, she thought of Xianxia's words. Moreover, the lass had been with him for so many years, so she had developed a sharp mind. She guessed that the man's thoughts were not so simple. Perhaps, there would be a turn for the better at the press conference. Hence, she suppressed her anxiety and waited silently. Xianxia arrived at the company early, but she was arranged to wait in the lounge by Xianxia. She had to appear last, or else it would be difficult to control the situation. 20 minutes before the press conference, Ji Yan suddenly appeared in the hall. As soon as the reporters saw her, they immediately swarmed around her. Countless microphones with logos were placed in front of her as everyone fought to be the first to ask her questions. Ji Yan, Xianxia said that she would like to apologize to you in front of the public's eye. Can you please express your thoughts? Ji Yan, are you planning to retire from the eye? Ji Yan, what do you think of Xianxia's indifference? Ji Yan's eye of the media's eyes. Of the media's. Hers G's. Of the presses. If you have any questions, raise your hand after the press conference begins. The security guards immediately came over to maintain order. The scene was once out of control, and the crowd was crowded. Chapter 26:43. In the office. When Xianxia walked in, Xianxia was memorizing the script. The script was marked with the questions the media wanted to ask and the draft answers he had prepared for her. Xianxia had originally said that she would be free to express herself, but because the media conference would be very grand, she could not be sloppy and could not afford to make any mistakes. Therefore, Xianxia had specially hired a public relations team to draft her lines overnight. Xianxia had a hard time memorizing the script. It was all formulaic. Although it was very powerful, memorizing every word was harder than reading a script. After memorizing it for a long time, she felt dizzy. How is it? Have you memorized it? Xianxia asked. Xianxia frowned. Many of the answers are too formulaic. It's very difficult to memorize them. Xianxia looked at her with disappointment. Suddenly, he sighed. It doesn't matter if you can't memorize it. No matter what, you just have to deal with the first half. Someone will help you deal with the second half. What do you mean? Xianxia looked at him in surprise, obviously a little puzzled by his words. You don't have to ask too many questions. It will only confuse you. You just have to remember that no matter what Ji Yan says, you have to refute her without mercy. She's here today, so we've already won half the battle. Do you understand? Xianxia nodded as if she understood. At the overpass, the traffic was congested. It was the evening rush hour. Yu looked out of the window curiously, listening to the honking sound along the way. She asked anxiously, Daddy, is there a traffic jam? Wuxia gripped the steering wheel with a frown. It was obvious that he was feeling frustrated as well. The traffic today was especially congested. He had left the company early, but he did not expect to be delayed on the road. Originally, he should have arrived at the venue early, but because of the heavy traffic, he was delayed a lot. Xiaoyichen was extremely nervous. Looking at the congested road, he said angrily, with such a congested road, we'll be stuck halfway even if we arrive 2 hours early. There's still 10 minutes until the press conference. Yu glanced at her watch and said worriedly, I don't know if Mommy can handle it. Then, the media would definitely ask a lot of difficult questions. I'm just afraid that when the time comes, Mommy will panic and it will be too late for us to rush over. No. Wuxia couldn't help but smile. It won't be a problem for her to deal with the media. At 7 o'clock, The press conference started on time. The door opened, and Xianxia, Qin Zhou, and several senior executives of Huanyu slowly walked into the venue under the escort of bodyguards. The moment she walked into the venue, all the reporters gathered in the hall became excited and raised their cameras. In an instant, the large hall was as bright as day under the continuous flashing of the cameras. The reporters swarmed forward, regardless of the tall bodyguards surrounding Xianxia. They all extended their microphones to her. "Xianxia, look over here. I'm a reporter from Phoenix Media. What's your ultimate intention for holding this press conference?" "Xianxia, I heard that you're going to apologize to Ji Yan in person at tonight's press conference, right? Does this mean that you acquiesce to Ji Yan's accusations?" Chapter 2644. The reporters were dumbfounded. Then, Qin Zhou immediately said in a serious tone, "According to the invitation, Miss Xianxia will apologize to the public for this incident at this press conference. Please don't confuse the public." After saying that, he walked toward the podium with Xianxia in his arm. The reporters were left looking at each other in confusion. The bodyguards invited the reporters back to the media seats. At the same time, the cameraman turned on the equipment and officially broadcasted the live footage to the major websites and portals. The top executives of Huanyu took their seats one after another, with Xianxia and Qin Zhou sitting in the center, right next to Ji Yan. Along the way, which was neither too far nor too short, Ji Yan had been sizing her up without blinking. Xianxia wore a white chiffon blouse and a pair of black crop trousers today, which accentuated her long and slender legs. She looked slender and elegant. Unlike Ji Yan, who was dressed to the nines, this set of formal attire was simple yet elegant, pure, and clean. Just like her name, she was beautiful and charming. Xianxia's expression remained calm throughout. After taking her seat, she raised her head slightly, revealing her clear face and stubborn and proud eyes. Like plum blossoms in winter, she exuded an air of arrogance that absolutely could not be blasphemed. Ji Yan, who was sitting next to Xianxia, although her facial features were exquisite, her temperament was obviously a far cry from her. She kept sneaking glances at Xianxia when her eyes suddenly fell on the latter's slender fingers. It was a huge diamond ring that she had never seen before. Since the start of filming, Xianxia would always take off her diamond ring in advance and keep it safe. Therefore, this was the first time Ji Yan saw this ring. "She's engaged?" Ji Yan was a little uncertain. She looked at Xianxia's side profile again and again, but when she saw that the latter was still calm and collected, she finally felt a little uneasy. She suddenly realized that she shouldn't have come to tonight's press conference. As if realizing that Ji Yunshu was looking at her, Xianxia suddenly shot her a glance. Their eyes met in mid-air, and Ji Yan was startled. She immediately turned her head away, pretending to be calm. However, she heard Ji Yunshu's lowered voice. "If you're afraid and regretful, it's not too late to clarify things now." "What?" Ji Yan burst into laughter. "What am I afraid of? What are you regretting? All right, let's wait and see." The press conference officially began. Order was maintained at the scene, and the hall suddenly quieted down. Everyone sitting on the stage turned on their microphones. First of all, Qin Zhou gave a simple speech to thank the various media outlets for taking the time to attend the press conference. He also thanked all the fans who were patiently waiting and paying attention. After the speech ended, Qin Zhou invited Huanyu's artistic director, Ji Lin, to give a speech. Some time ago, some people posted rumors about our company's artist, Ms. Xianxia, on Weibo, Tieba, blogs, and the internet, which constantly hurt the feelings of fans and caused unbearable damage to Ms. Xianxia's reputation. First of all, as the artistic director of Huanyu, I hereby declare that these rumors about Xianxia's involvement in Ms. Ji Yan and Mr. Gao Nan's relationship are untrue. The audience burst into an uproar. Chapter 2645. Ji Yan, who was sitting at the side, turned pale and looked at Ji Lin in disbelief. She originally thought that Huanyu had no choice but to hold a press conference to apologize to Xianxia in order to minimize the damage to her reputation and popularity. She thought that Huanyu would compromise with her. Little did she expect that she would be checkmated by Huanyu instead when she came with such high expectations. Ji Yan was at a loss for a moment, but it wasn't as if she hadn't expected this. So what if Xianxia didn't admit it? The public, including fans and the media, had long been convinced that Xianxia was the third party. Coupled with Huanyu's cold treatment some time ago, the The public had always interpreted it as a guilty conscience. So what if Xianxia didn't admit it or apologize? The public was already gnashing their teeth in hatred of her image as a third party. Her image as a third party could no longer be erased. Ji Yan made up the story bitterly while trying to maintain a calm appearance. At the same time, she immediately pretended to be extremely aggrieved in front of the camera and swallowed her anger like an innocent victim. Ji Lin continued, "Tonight, Huan Yu and Ms. Xianxia will make a full clarification of this incident at the press conference and sincerely apologize to the public and fans for the negative impact this personal matter has brought to the public." The media reporters looked at each other and were constantly bombarded with questions. The reporters sitting in the front row couldn't hold back their surprise and scrambled to ask questions. The scene suddenly became noisy. As media reporters, they had participated in many celebrity press conferences. Previously, many celebrities had been involved in scandals and held press conferences to clarify the facts. But what was the truth? The truth was not important to the media. They didn't care about the truth at all. What they cared about most was which topic was the most explosive, which could attract the public the most and drive traffic to the media portal. Ji Lin immediately took charge of the situation solemnly. "Everyone, please keep quiet, okay? We're about to start the Q&A session. Please follow the order of the venue and raise your hand to ask." Immediately, a reporter raised his hand. "Okay, let's invite the reporter from Phoenix Media to ask a question." The reporter from Phoenix Media sprang to his feet, pointed the microphone at Ji Yan, and got straight to the point. "Miss Ji Yan, do you agree with what Huan Yu has said about Miss Xianxia?" As soon as his voice fell, Ji Yan pursed her lips as a teardrop fell from her eye and slid down her cheek. She suddenly covered her mouth and choked on her sobs for a while. Only after she had adjusted her emotions did she finally pick up the microphone and speak to the reporter with reddened eyes. "Hello, reporter friend. What I want to say is that people can be ignorant, but they must never be shameless. The reason I attended the press conference was because I thought Huan Yu would apologize for the negative behavior of their artists. I never expected that they would be so shameless as to destroy their conscience in order to protect their artists. If they say that these are all false rumors, then aren't they accusing me of spreading rumors? I originally thought that if Xianxia sincerely apologized to me and asked for my forgiveness, I would be willing to forgive her generously. But if she insists on accusing me of spreading rumors, I will never forgive her." Chapter 2646. Mu Shi, who was standing in a corner of the venue, was so furious that her lungs were about to explode when she heard this. "This Ji Yan is really shameless. I can't wait to rush up on stage and give her a good beating to vent my anger." Qin Zhou couldn't help but furrow his brows. How could Ji Yan's acting skills be so superb? She portrayed a victim who was hurt by a third party in such a vivid and lifelike manner. If he didn't know the details of this matter, he would have been deceived by her weak and aggrieved image. Sure enough, when the crowd saw Ji Yan crying and wiping the corners of her eyes aggrievedly, they raised their cameras to capture the scene. Ji Lin's face remained calm as he said, "Let's move on to the next reporter's question. Let's welcome the reporter from Global Times. Miss Xianxia, since Huan Yu accused Ji Yan of being a third party, what is the truth of this matter? Can you explain it to the public personally?" Xianxia nodded and picked up the microphone. Okay, please explain. "I met Gao Nan a few months ago. At that time, he was in a stable relationship with one of my best friends. At that time, the two hadn't been dating for long, but during the dinner, I could see that he was overly concerned about me. It was unusual, so I didn't have a good impression of him. The next time we met was at a class reunion. I saw that he was very protective of my best friend, so I thought that he was serious about dating her. However, a few days ago, Ji Yan invited the whole production team to her birthday party. At the bar, she introduced her boyfriend of 2 months to the crew, and I didn't expect him to be Gao Nan. I specifically asked my friend about it, and she replied that the two were still dating. Thus, I became convinced that Gao Nan had cheated on Ji Yan and was very angry." The reporters present were all stunned. Everyone was dumbfounded. No one had expected that Ji Yan, who had accused Xianxia of being a third party, would be accused of being a third party by Xianxia instead. Ji Yan's face turned deathly pale as well. Xianxia calmly explained, "At that time, my assistant drank too much and felt unwell, so I sent her to the washroom. Afterward, Gao Nan followed me and said some vulgar words to me. He even started to get physical with me. Hua Jin, who was also in the same production team, ran over out of worry. When he saw this scene, he got into a fight with him, and the party ended on a sour note. After that, I told my friend everything. She chose to break up with me and ended the relationship. Little did I expect that when I returned to the set, Ji Yen would openly spread false rumors about me and Gao Nan. I don't know what she's up to. How dare she spread rumors about me seducing Gao Nan for the sake of a female lead role? What's more, I don't know where Gao Nan's conscience lies to go along with her lie to damage my reputation. Recently, the rumors about me on the internet have become more and more rampant, causing a great impact on me and my agency. I choose to stand up and protect my rights. When necessary, I will take up the weapon of law to defend my dignity. She skipped the part about Gao Nan threatening her to be his mistress. This was because even she felt that it was a great humiliation to her. Impossible. You're lying. Chapter 26:47. Xianxia sneered and retorted sarcastically, "Who's the one making this up? What kind of person is Gao Nan, and what kind of reputation does he have in the entertainment industry? There's something wrong with his style, and everyone can see that you're the real third party."
I'm not. Don't you dare slander me.
Tears streamed down Ji Yan's cheeks as she yelled in exasperation. A reporter asked directly, "Xianxia, do you know that Gao Nan's mother is a senior executive in Chungguang Entertainment?"
I don't know. How can you not know?
The reporter asked sharply. Gao Nan has a prominent identity as the successor of the Gao Group. His mother is a senior executive in Chungguang Entertainment, and he has a wide range of connections and golden resources in the entertainment industry. Don't tell me that you covet this, and that's why you want to get close to him? Xianxia calmly replied. No, I don't. I don't have any thoughts about him. There's never a groundless rumor in the entertainment industry. Many things can't be concluded based on groundless accusations though, can't you? Xianxia said, enunciating each word carefully. Even if a criminal is tried in court, the testimony of a few people isn't enough to convict him of a crime. There's also the suspicion of perjury, and the testimony of the witnesses must be carefully considered. In addition, more evidence must be presented before a verdict can be made. The seriousness of the law is to protect the legitimate rights and interests of individuals. Similarly, can Ji Yen and Gao Nan convict me of my crime based on their statements alone? Won't this be unfair to me? I don't like to quibble, and I'll admit what I've done and apologize if I've done something wrong. However, I won't admit to something I didn't do, let alone apologize. Just based on the words of these two people, they were able to influence public opinion and cause damage to my reputation. Is this what real fairness is? If I'm the third party, and this is what the media wants to see in order to increase traffic and topics, I can't refute it. As for the rest, I'll entrust a law firm to recover my rights and interests for me. Then, all the relevant entities who spread the rumors will have to pay a serious price. The scene quieted down at once. For a moment, no one knew who to believe. One made a solemn vow, and every word was clear and logical. The other was once exposed as a betrayal and suicide by cutting her wrist. This was all confirmed by the hospital. Even if she wanted to create hype, there was no need to be so ruthless, right? The reporters had interviewed the hospital staff, and the insider said that Ji Yen had indeed been sent to the emergency room due to excessive blood loss after she committed suicide by cutting her wrist. All the evidence was conclusive. If she hadn't been sent to the hospital in time, her life would have been in the hospital. Who would joke would take their life? If he was careless and lost his life, wouldn't that be a great loss? All the reporters then turned their attention to her. May I ask if this was the reason why you slit your wrist and committed suicide? That's right. That's because I'm too deeply in love with Gao Nan. Knowing that the man I love betrayed me is like a bolt from the blue. My mind was muddled and I did something stupid. Do you agree with what Xianxia said earlier? She is lying. What if you're sure that she's lying? Her words are just to protect her own reputation. Yen. Chapter 26:48. You're Huanyu's artistic director and her superior. Of course you'll side with her. Ji Yen continued agitatedly. But that's the truth. Xianxia seduced Gao Nan in order to get more resources. That's the undeniable truth. She's been playing the female lead since her debut, and she's always had good resources. Where did she get all these resources? She knows it all too well. Ji Lin retorted domineeringly. The artists under Huanyu never lack resources. Xianxia is an artist that Huan Yu has focused on, so she doesn't lack resources either. So, you're saying that Ji Yan's accusation that you seduced Gao Nan is also groundless? I didn't do that. I implore all the reporters to stop spreading false information and stick to reporting the truth. All the reporters fell silent at once. The scene turned strange. Ji Yan could not help but panic when she saw the tables had turned. She was not afraid of Xianxia's legal claims at all. Facing her in court was just a civil lawsuit. However, if the situation were to turn around, then everything she had done would be for naught. Are you still going to quibble at this point? Ji Yan suddenly stood up agitatedly and glared at her. If you want to threaten me with a court battle, then let me tell you that it's not a threat at all. You can sue me for slander. I'm not afraid at all. You're the third party who interfered in my relationship with Gao Nan. You're the third party, Ji Yan, Xianxia said calmly. Ji Yan sneered. What evidence do you have to say that I'm the third party? Or do you have someone to prove it for you? It's me. Someone suddenly walked into the venue. Xianxia focused her gaze and saw that it was Xiao Shui. She quickly walked to the front of the stage and exchanged glances with Xianxia. The latter looked at her in surprise, obviously surprised by her sudden appearance. Xiao Shui looked at Xianxia. She had specially come to the venue and was prepared for this. She did not know how much courage she had mustered before she decided to reveal her scarred relationship to the media as evidence. You? Xianxia was stunned. Why are you here? If Gao Nan's words can be used as evidence, then I have evidence as well. Ignoring Xianxia's surprised gaze, Xiao Shui gritted her teeth and turned around to face the media. She sneered. My name is Xiao Shui. I'm Xiaxia's classmate and close friend. Gao Nan is my boyfriend. No, to be precise, I officially broke up with him after I found out about his bad behavior, so he can only be considered as my ex-boyfriend. Xiao Shui. Xianxia tugged at her sleeve. She's not, Xiao Shui, Xianxia, she gritted her teeth. Xianxia said, I'm not to Xianxia. In the process of dating, I was immersed in the joy of love, but I didn't know that he was dating another woman behind my back. Course to course, eyes her to date to me, twos to break, Xiaxia. Ji Yan sneered. Your words alone are not enough to prove it. That's right. What about you and Gao Nan? What evidence do you have to accuse Xiaxia of being the third party? Xiao Shui retorted. The two women stared at each other fiercely. Chapter 2649. Ji Yan, I don't know how you got together with him. I don't know if you started dating him after finding out that he has a girlfriend, or if he kept it a secret and cheated on you. What I do know, though, is that Xiaxia would never betray me. You may know a person for a long time without understanding their true nature. She may look innocent and harmless on the surface, but who knows what kind of person she really is. Isn't this saying more appropriate for you? What you said doesn't make sense at all. How can it not make sense? Xiao Shui became agitated. Xiaxia is about to get married. How could she do such a thing? As soon as she finished speaking, the audience fell into a dead silence. Everyone was dumbfounded. Xiao Shui's words had revealed a piece of shocking news. Xiaxia is getting married. This is earth-shattering news. Everyone became excited as if they had been injected with chicken blood. At this moment, no one was paying attention to the melodramatic love triangle between Ji Yan, Gao Nan, and Xiaxia. Instead, they were more concerned about Xiaxia's complicated relationship. Xiao Shui suddenly realized that she had let it slip in her haste. She widened her eyes in shock, furrowed her brows, and bit her lower lip in remorse. Behind her, Qin Zhou was also a little surprised and glanced at her. This Xiao Shui seemed a little too rash. How could she say such a thing so casually? Xiao Shui immediately turned to look at Xiaxia with a guilty expression. Her eyes were full of helplessness. She wanted to say that she was here to prove her innocence and not to cause trouble. However, it seemed that her good intentions had now backfired. What should she do? Was it too late for her to change her mind? However, if she were to retract her words in front of so many people, it would only put Xiaxia in a more passive situation. Xiaxia, I'm sorry. Xiao Shui stammered, feeling wronged. I didn't mean it. I really didn't mean to cause trouble for you. I was too anxious. It's okay. The audience suddenly became restless. It was too shocking. The hottest and most popular starlet actually got married in secret? Secretly married. She was only 24 years old. Getting married at such a young age was simply an anomaly in the entertainment industry. In the industry of actors, they had to make a living out of their youth. Youth is very short. For the sake of their career, many female artists are more resistant to marriage. They all want to use their precious time to climb up. Unless she really met a benefactor, married into a rich family, became a rich madam, and retired from the entertainment industry. That was a different story. However, actresses who married into wealthy families rarely took acting as their livelihood. Unless he was bullied at home and ran out to take on scripts to earn money and make his presence known. Xianxia, on the other hand, had a bright future ahead of her as soon as she debuted. She would definitely shine brightly in the future. She might even be able to replace Han Yuyen. Everyone had high hopes for her. Now, it was revealed that they were married? Unbelievable.
Xianxia, are you really married?
Why hasn't the marriage been announced yet? Xianxia, can you reveal who your marriage partner is? Xianxia sighed and suddenly stood up. She walked to the front of the stage and faced all the reporters with a smile. The corners of her lips curved up calmly, revealing a faint gentleness. Chapter 2650. Xianxia suddenly raised her hand. The diamond ring on her ring finger shone brightly under the spotlight. She smiled gently, her eyes radiating happiness. Yes, she's right. I'm already married. As soon as she said that, the audience burst into an uproar. Xianxia continued, although we haven't had the time to hold a wedding ceremony, I've already gotten married in secret. I have a husband who loves me dearly, and I love my family. Because of this, I can't betray my true love and get involved in other people's relationships. I've never announced this to the public because I think I'm just an actress. As long as I show my good work to the public, it's enough. There's no need to expose my private life in front of the camera. Some time ago, you participated in the dating reality show, The Love Diary, and filmed the show as an imaginary couple with Xianxia. How do you explain this? Since you said it yourself, there's no such thing as an imaginary couple. Since you're already married, how do you explain the rumors about you and Xianxia some time ago? Xianxia suddenly felt conflicted. In front of so many senior executives of Huanyu, could she expose them and say that these were all part of the company's packaging and hype? Could it be said that the company had tied her and Xianxia together and promoted them as the lucky couple, in order to promote her? Could she say that these were all deliberately directed by the production team and the show? Behind him, Ji Yan did not expect things to turn out this way.
She was stunned for a moment before she began to tremble in anger.
She did not expect that she would not shed tears until she saw the coffin. She thought that Xianxia would not dare to announce her marriage. That was because Ji Yan had investigated her background and secretly taken photos of her, so she had some inside information about her past. Since she took the initiative to expose her marriage, she must have a backup plan. Thinking of this, Ji Yan's face turned pale for a moment. Then, she suddenly calmed down and a cold smile appeared on her lips. Previously, when she was still Yan Bingqing, she accidentally learned that she had a pair of twins and had a close relationship with Mu Yaja. At that time, they were not married yet. In that case, the origin of this pair of children was enough to give people food for thought. Therefore, she secretly investigated her. The result of her investigation was that Xianxia became a surrogate mother for the Mu family when she was 18 and gave birth to 2 sons for them. The younger brother was too weak at birth and stopped breathing for a time. Later, by chance, she kept him by her side and named him Yun Tianyu. It could be said that this was the most embarrassing part of her history. She actually dared to announce her marriage so calmly. Her gaze suddenly shifted to a certain spot in the venue, and she silently gave a secret signal. Before she rushed to the venue, she had bribed a reporter to leak information and photos of Xianxia's unbearable past to him. This was her final gamble. Chapter 2651. Whoa! The crowd burst into an uproar. The corners of Ji Yan's lips curled into a playful smile as if she was gloating over her misfortune. Ji Lin was stunned. Qin Zhou and Xiao Shui were also taken aback. The row of Huanyu's senior executives sitting behind them was even more shocked. They didn't know that Xianxia was already pregnant. So where did these reporters get the news from? Xianxia's face turned as white as a sheet of chalk. Her complexion turned completely bleak. She didn't expect such a sharp question through the microphone, so she asked in a daze, "What did you say?" "You haven't held a formal wedding yet. According to the information I have, you only officially registered your marriage last year. However, your sons are already 7 years old. This means that when you gave birth to the twins, you were 18 years old. At that time, you should still be in university, right? What's the reason for your unmarried pregnancy while you were still in school? Can you explain it to me?" Xianxia's body swayed for a while, and she couldn't help but take a step back as her mind went blank. All of a sudden, countless dazzling memories rushed into her mind, but they were all sucked away by a strong suction force. Her vision turned black, and she felt as if the world was spinning. Don't ask. Don't ask. She suddenly recalled that after giving birth, she had returned to the campus and walked into the class. Her classmates had looked at her strangely, whispering and discussing in private.
Those harsh words echoed in her ears again.
How can she still have the face to go back to school? During the summer vacation, I saw her get into a Bentley with a big belly. She even had someone supporting her, like a noble young mistress. Was it an accident? Humph. Wasn't there a rumor that she was a mistress of a rich man? She accidentally got pregnant. She probably signed some kind of agreement for money, then dropped out of school and secretly gave birth to